Prayers.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with the abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trust in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as promote your own glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.
Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Prime Minister and Leader of Government Business, the Honorable Leader of Opposition in the Parliament of Uganda, the members of the public who have come today to act as Honorable Members of Parliament for purpose of the People's Parliament debate. This afternoon, we have a short program for the official opening of the People's Parliament, of the Public Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, this morning there was a session of the Public Parliament and there was an election of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. I am glad to inform you that we have 3 shades of opinion in the House. We have the ruling party, we have a number of opposition parties, and we have those who subscribe to the independent school of thought. But before the House can commence, we will have the honor of having some remarks from the Leader of the Opposition, who will then invite the representative of the Right Honorable Prime Minister, who is also the Leader of Government Business in the House, who will in turn invite the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament to officially open this session, before we have a short suspension to allow them exit the building, and the House will be ready to proceed. I now take this honor to invite the Honorable Leader of the Opposition in Parliament to make her short remarks. Honorable.
The Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, honorable members of this august House, the distinguished participants in the People's Parliament today. Today is a historic event in the life and practice of the Parliament of Uganda. It is a day and a moment when the hitherto members of Parliament and indeed the leadership of Parliament is sitting here today as strangers. And the hitherto strangers are actually the members of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, it is indeed an amazing thing, and I'm suddenly enjoying the practice. I've taken time, Right Honorable Speaker, to rehearse how any reference to the Speaker of this House is not to you, Mama, the Right Honorable Alitwala Kadaga, and then a reference to the Leader of the Opposition is certainly to someone else and not to myself. What an amazing day this one is. I want to appreciate the Parliament of Uganda under the leadership of the Right Honorable Alitwala Rebecca Kadaga for organizing this historic event. In the same vein, I would like to appreciate the role that has been played by the Department of Communications and Public Affairs for organizing this historic moment and the events that have happened throughout the week. I was privileged to participate in the beginning of this parliamentary week when all Ugandans were led by the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Alitwala Kadaga, in a charity walk for the persons with albinism. Right Honorable Speaker, this was a nice thing for you to do, and I wish to let the members here present know that it was a gesture from the Parliament of Uganda to speak for the voiceless. It is indeed our duty as members of Parliament to speak what others may not want to speak, to expose what others may not want exposed, and of course, to represent the wishes and aspirations of the people of Uganda. I was privileged to be part of this charity walk, which was headed by the Speaker of Parliament, and indeed opening up the parliamentary week, which we are all enjoying, and concluding with this People's Parliament. You're most welcome, honorable members. You're most welcome, and congratulations, Mr. Speaker, with your team. Congratulations, the Leader of the Opposition, with your team. Congratulations, the Leader of the Government Business, and the team that you'll be working with during the course of the day. Parliament is a place or an institution that is for all of us. Many people think that Parliament is for a few people. It is an institution where we come to represent your views. I'm glad that today you have not sent anyone, you have been there yourselves. My prayer is that the members of Parliament here present now in the gallery take keen interest in the deliberations that the members of Parliament here sitting today will come up with. It is indeed our duty to make a follow-up of the issues that you will come up with from this House. I know the deliberations today will come from different sides of the House, like you have been told. But the common practice of this Parliament is that we accord respect to one another. Indeed, we don't have the same viewpoints, but I pray, honorable members, that as you deliberate, take respect as one of our cardinal principles, and actually our rules of procedure do dictate that we respect each other. Even when you don't share the same viewpoint, take time to listen in to each one of you. Interact. If a member hurts you while you are inside here, please leave it here. That is our practice. We may haggle here, we may quarrel here, but when we get out, the debate closes here. Our practice is that whatever we discuss here, whether we have even quarreled and we have beaten ourselves, we don't make it get out of the chambers. It doesn't spoil our relationships because we believe that all we have done is for the good of this country. We may use different approaches, we may use different ways, but all is geared towards ensuring a better country for all of us to live in. Right Honorable Speaker, so as we go through this debate on the floor of the House, I will therefore respect the outcomes of this House, and I pray that we treat each other with dignity. Right Honorable Speaker, the day is not mine. I know the members of Parliament here present are eagerly waiting to present their views, their wishes, and their aspirations. I watched throughout the week people coming into the stalls. I saw how excited the Ugandan population was, Right Honorable Speaker, to see what happens around Parliament, to understand the different departments that we have as a Parliament, and indeed the final destination, which is the chamber, where we are right now. It is nice for us to note that this is an event that will be taking place every year. So prepare those Ugandans that have not been able to be here this year, be prepared to come next year. Courtesy of the leadership of the Right Honorable Speaker Litwala Kadaga and the entire institution of Parliament. We want to thank you for giving us this opportunity, Right Honorable Speaker, to listen from those who send us here. During your stay here, you will be confronted with views that you have ordinarily been thinking are the views that your MP should carry. I was witnessing from remote how we were carrying out your elections, and they said, aha, let you also go through it. I know some of you, while you were going through the stalls, you realized that much of the demands that you make towards your members of Parliament are actually not some of the roles that they are supposed to be doing here. So I look forward, and I'm excited and eagerly waiting to hear your deliberations and be able, as a way of accountability, to make a follow-up on what will come out of these deliberations. Having said this, I want to once again thank you for the period we have gone through, the whole week. I want to pray that the deliberations made in this House will be for the good of this country, will be for the good of our people, as we espouse the notion of one Uganda, one people, as we try to move forward for steady progress. I therefore wish to take this humble opportunity to invite the Right Honorable Leader of the Government Business to make his remark. Right Honorable, you're most welcome.
Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Ministers, the Leader of Opposition, Members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to convey apologies by the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, and a Leader of Government Business in Parliament. He is unable to be with you due to other official engagements. Right Honorable Speaker, I congratulate you upon organizing the Parliament Week purposely to bring the people, the public, closer to the legislature. and you have nothing to hide. There is the mystery that people used to see on the roadside. They now see it inside. So there's nothing special here. This is your house, and you are now going to debate the issue of the country. It is also a step in the right direction because it enables the public to appreciate the role of Parliament, which I wish to enumerate in brief as follows. Parliament is to pass laws for the good governance of the country. Whatever is passed here is the same throughout the country. It's the only law that is looking after lawbreakers. It's not looking particular tribe, it's not looking for particular religions, no. The law is after lawbreakers. Doesn't matter what your tribe, what your religion, or how short or how tall. If you break that law, that's where that law goes, and it is passed here by all representatives of people from Uganda. 2, to provide by giving legislative sanctions, taxation, and acquisition of loans, the means of carrying out the work of government. It is here that the money government uses is approved by this House. That's why when it is approved, then Auditor General is able to follow the money approved by Parliament. How is it used? And they report it back here so that it gives Parliament opportunity to supervise, to see what is happening outside. To scrutinize government policy and administration through the following: pre-legislative scrutiny of bills referred to the parliamentary committees by Parliament. When bills are brought here, the Speaker refers to the committee. The same Parliament scrutinizing the various objects of expenditure and the sums to be spent on each. This one we have said it. Assuring transparency and accountability in the application of public funds. That's what the Auditor General does, and I referred to us here. Monitoring the implementation of government programs and projects. To debate matters of special or topical interest, usually highlighted in the President's State of the Nation address. The President comes here and addresses the Parliament, and then the people debate. To vet the appointment of persons nominated by the President under the Constitution or any other enactment. If the President appoints people, they must come here to be vetted. If you are lucky, you are through. If you are not, and when Parliament says no, that's it. But what is very important before I sit down is the unity. We must be united. We are seated here from all over the country, each member representing each section of the country. We must be here united, as the leader of opposition says. Whatever disagreement you have here, when you go out, that's it, finish. You don't carry it. We are here managing the country on your behalf. And Parliament is also officially a government branch of the government to mention the shortcomings of the government officially. although opposition is the government in waiting, at the same time as they are waiting, they should continue telling us what is our shortcomings. Then when their turn comes, God forbid, they will then come and they sit on this side. Otherwise, I think I should not take long. I want to stop here, and I have the honor to officially invite the Speaker to come and open the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable the Leader of Opposition, Speaker Wadulo, the members of the House, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the National Assembly, I want to welcome you most warmly to your parliament. Welcome, this is your home, and this is your place. We have invited you because in 2012, we had a very big meeting in this country, the Interparliamentary Union, where we agreed that we are distant from the population. We speak for them, budget for them, but we are distant from them. So we agreed to bridge the gap. Since then, we have had, in 2015, the Women's Parliament. The women came here and had their own sitting. We've had the Children's Parliament. They also came here. Now you, the people, are here. So we're happy that you have come at your house. When I was sworn in as Speaker of the 10th Parliament, I said I would continue the campaign to relate to our people so that they know the relevance of Parliament and themselves. We are going to continue that one. This whole week, we've had over 2,000 citizens coming here. You know, when you are outside the gate there, you see a huge building, you see police, you see the soldiers. So, I will not go there. But this week, over 2,000 people have come. They viewed the exhibition. They've understood what we do. And now I think they're more comfortable talking to their MPs and understanding their work. So I want to thank you so much for coming. And of course, as we have said, the Parliament Week is going to be part of our calendar. Ugandans will continue to come here so that we can interact and learn more. There are even people who are here who did not know enough about Parliament, but they have learned during this week. So I want to really welcome you. Now, I think you know where you are sitting. This is the government side. This is the opposition side. Around there, the independents. Those are my seats there. The UPDF are somewhere, normally sit somewhere at the back there. But all of them are here, and we speak and work together. So when you get up to speak, you press a button there, say your name and your constituency, because it's being recorded on the Hansard. You're on the Hansard, very seriously. So your name will be recorded. My name is Chizito, I come from Kawempe. It will be there, you know. So I don't want to take too much of your time. Right Honorable Speaker, let me declare the first People's Parliament open. And now I'm handing over my authority to you as the elected Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker Rebecca Tadaga, Right Honorable Leader of Government Business, Right Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Members of Parliament, Members of the Parliament of the People, I welcome you. I want to thank you for this initiative, Right Honorable Speaker. That's an indication of the fact that this Parliament is practicing open parliament as well as open government principles. Would like to thank you for that. Excuse me. And we think that this initiative that you've ushered in should not just be a ritual. I propose that for the entire year, and I want members to agree with me at some point, that actually this People's Parliament should be able to have at least 4 sittings. So that the issues that we generate, Right Honorable Speaker, should be able to be taken up by the Parliament of the Government of Uganda and also the Government of Uganda. And I want to believe that this is an initiative that will build the capacity of the leadership potential that we have in this country as we try to move this country forward. So I would like to thank you once again for voting me as your Speaker. I'm an independent Member of Parliament, and I want to promise you that I will not only look on the left or on the right or in the center when I'm taking decisions, and that will be the way forward for this country as we pull together for a better Uganda. So, by the powers entrusted unto me, I declare this session suspended. We'll be back here in the afternoon for the real business of the day. I thank you.
Honorable members, we suspended to allow our dignitaries leave, but our speaker is coming back now, and then we'll begin the real thing. So please don't run out.
Let's first get it.
Just
Check 1 2. Hello. 1 2. Check. Testing. Check. Check. Check 1 2.
Honorable members, the mics have got a button on top. For purpose of illustration, a few volunteers could stand up to the mics and you press 1. And when you see that light, then you are ready to talk.
Hello.
And once you have finished what you are saying, you press 1 and it will go off as well.
Hello.
It works.
Hello.
It's not going on.
1 2. Check 1 2. Hello. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, hello. Check
Hello?
1 2.
Okay.
Check 1 2.
Honorable members, please. Please.
1 2.
Let's sit and,
Clear.
Hello.
I'm going
Hello.
It's working.
Clerk, can you help request your members to sit down and
Hi members, please have seats. Okay. Honorable members, please sit down.
Thank you. Honorable members, I would just like to guide on the use of microphones a little. The mics, the people seated on the front benches, you're mostly going to use the dispatchable mics. These are connected. You don't have to press any button. You just have to walk. It's actually the mic with the red lights we're going to use most. So you direct, you should position it like this. I think I sound better now. Yes, this is how you position it when you're presenting here. For the other mics, we are requesting, please, you should only engage it when the speaker has given you permission to speak. Because our systems get disturbed when you engage more than 3 mics. So it should be 1 mic engaged at a time, and at most there should be 3. You can raise a point of order, but avoid engaging too many mics. That's our request. But on those mics, there's a button. You press that button once, and the light turns red. It turns red up there, actually. Someone should help me press that mic. No, the gentleman in a tie. Did it turn red? It's green. Green, it's because we've not given you permission to speak. When you give you permission, it will turn red. Yeah. Green, you're just booking. We control you from somewhere. We're not going to tell you. But we give you permission and it will turn red. Okay? But please, let's avoid engaging too many mics. That's just my humble request. Thank you, honorable members.
Item number 2 on the order paper, communication from the chair.
Good afternoon, members. Honorable members, members of this August House of the Parliament of Uganda, and also members of the Public Parliament. I want to welcome you to the first session of this Parliament that brings together people of all walks of life, ordinary people from Uganda, of different political shades, but also in terms of the historic moment of this House, that we are able to have a member of the public becoming your speaker and who is very independent. I want to thank you members for trusting that I can do this job for us, and that is our job, excuse me, to be able to have the feelers out there for the citizens of Uganda and bring matters of national importance for discussion into the House. So I want to congratulate you, honorable members, also for being elected into this House. It does give me a rare honor and privilege to recognize that what we have seen here today is a reflection of the direction and aspirations of the people of Uganda. That as aspiring leaders of this country, you are able to understand what is going on in this country, and that the way you chose your leaders this time around is to say we all need to come together and pull together, that we should not be divided. If you looked at my campaign message, it was about pulling together to contribute to the national agenda. And I want us to maintain that during the term of our office, and I think that that is what will determine the pace and magnitude of the issues we discuss. I will quickly guide the House that in this House, I'll reiterate the importance of respect for each other in terms of how we behave, in terms of how we allow others to speak, that we shall listen to each other, even when you dislike or disagree vehemently with the position of the honorable member. And that also, when we discuss, we shall be to the point. We shall not delve too much into opening remarks before, because we shall be only given 3 minutes at the most. And at that time when the motion comes up, I'll make sure that I look all sides to be able to give a balanced debate of the motion of the day. And that I think at the end of it all, as I suggested, that this session should not be a one-off. We should not just be going through the motions of what you call, it's like a simulation. I want us this to be real in terms of a parliament of alternative, a parliament of the people that sieves out issues out there and delivers those issues to the Parliament of Uganda and the government of Uganda. I'm thinking that you're representatives in your own right. And you have the issues, you interact with them every day. So you should be able to help your substantive members of parliament in your different constituencies to work together to solve the issues given the four cardinal roles of a member of parliament, which are oversight, legislation, appropriation, and the others that are able to be the watchdogs of the delivery of government programs. So I welcome you once again, and I should say I'm very excited to be with you here. So having made my opening remarks, I ask the clerk to read the next item on the agenda.
Item number 6 on the order paper, motion for a resolution of the public parliament urging government to take measures to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change.
Can we have the move of the motion? Member of Parliament, Leader of Government Business.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Speaker, sir, my name is Flavia Kalule Nawagawe from Mubende District, Kasana North constituency. The motion for a resolution of the People's Parliament urging government to take measures to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change.
Procedure, Honourable Member.
Honourable Speaker, I would like to inquire, Honourable Speaker, is it procedurally right for the Right Honourable Speaker, for the Right Honourable Minister?
Honourable Member, can you give your name and constituency that you represent?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. My name is Mhanguzu Kasha, representing Kampala. But through you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Proceed.
Through you, Right Honourable Speaker, is it procedurally right for the Right Honourable Prime Minister to call the members as ladies and gentlemen? Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Member, we shall address, honourable members, we shall address each other as honourable members. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable members of Parliament, I motion for a resolution of the People's Parliament urging government to take measures to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change under Rule 47 of the Rules of Procedure.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Secondment? Anybody seconding the motion?
Good afternoon, honorable members of Parliament. I'm Elizabeth Esther Wanyana from Kamuli Municipality, residing in Kampala. I'm here to second the motion for a resolution of the public parliament urging government to take measures to mitigate the adverse effects of the climate change.
All right, so can we have a seconder? And then we shall have the mover to justify the motion.
The Right Honourable Speaker, my name is the Right Honourable Mopendi Osinde, representing Tororo, and I'm the Leader of Opposition in this Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand on this floor of Parliament to second the motion for a resolution of the public Parliament urging government to take measures to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change. Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition. Can we have the mover justify the motion?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and the seconders. Under Rule 47 of the Rules of Procedure, whereas Objective 27, 1 and 2 of the National Objectives and Directive Principles of State Policy obligates
We
the
shall,
state...
Honourable Member, let her justify, then we shall...
Whereas Objective 27, 1 and 2 of the National Objectives and Directive Principles of State Policy obligate the state to promote sustainable development and public awareness of the need to manage land, air, and water resources in a balanced and sustainable manner for the present and future generations, as well as taking all possible measures to prevent or minimize damage and destruction to land, air, and water resources resulting from pollution or other causes. Whereas Article 39 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, guarantees a person's right to a clean and healthy environment. Recalling that the Republic of Uganda is a signatory to international treaties on climate change,
Right Honorable Speaker.
such as the United
Procedure, Honourable
Nations.
Member.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Is it procedurally right for the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the leader of government business in this House, to continue justifying to this Honorable House when some of us don't even have that right out? Is it procedurally right? Right Honorable Speaker.
Honourable Members, I wanted to believe that you had the statement on your iPads. Proceed. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. As I was saying, recalling that the Republic of Uganda is a signatory to international treaties on climate change, such as the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, 1992, as well as the Kyoto Protocol to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, 1997, to take precautionary measures to anticipate, prevent, or minimize the causes of climate change and mitigate its adverse effects. Concerned that, according to the Climate Change Department of the Ministry of Water and Environment, Uganda is one of the countries that are greatly vulnerable to climate change impacts in respect of climate variability, including increasing temperatures, increased frequency and intensity of rainfall, heat waves, droughts, floods, and storms. Further concerned that Uganda is currently experiencing higher than usual temperatures, changes in rain patterns, reduction in total rainfall amounts, and reduction in the water table, as well as lake and river levels, thereby leading to droughts, floods, and landslides that have not only destroyed property and human and animal life, but affected the general productivity of some parts of Uganda. Alarmed that, whereas Parliament enacted a number of laws aimed at protecting the environment, such as the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, the National Forestry and Tree Planting Act, 2008, the National Environment Act, 153, and including the National Environment, and has created a number of institutions aimed at ensuring environmental protection, including the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, and the National Forestry Authority. And there is enacted a national climate change policy for Uganda. Environmental degradation has continued unabated, resulting in the wetland reclamation, illegal degazettement and destruction of forests, and environmental pollution. Realizing that unless measures are put in place to safeguard the environment, slow climate change, and prevent further environmental damage, Uganda is likely to suffer irreversible climatic changes, which in turn will reverse the country's development trajectory. Cognizant that there is need to introduce innovative strategies aimed at reducing and mitigating the adverse effects of climate change in Uganda, now therefore be it resolved by this Parliament that 1. Government strictly implements all the environmental laws enacted by Parliament. Secondly, government removes all illegal settlements from wetlands and forests in Uganda. Thirdly, government cancels all land titles issued in wetlands and in gazetted forest reserves. Fourthly, government introduces strong and deterrent punishments against persons who degrade the environment. Fifthly, government introduces measures aimed at reduction and curbing of greenhouse emissions. Sixthly, government introduces specific obligations on recycling and emission control, as well as the use of energy from renewable resources. Seventhly, government ensures that all contracts it enters into with other persons contain environment mitigation measures. Government ensures regular and compulsory tree planting in all homesteads and public spaces in Uganda. Also, government should ensure that trees are planted on all sides of major highways. In addition, all homesteads should plant trees, and failure to do so should attract a 10-year jail term. And lastly, all developments in wetlands and forest reserves should be destroyed within 6 months. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to request that we look at this issue very pertinently, because this is an issue affecting so many of our lives in this country. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Right Honorable Leader of Government Business. You do highlight very critical issues about climate change, which I do acknowledge. And before I open the House for debate, I'd just like to underscore one of the issues about climate change, that climate change happens slowly but really. The effects may not be seen immediately, and therefore, we may not be able to react to the adverse long-term effects of climate change in good time. But it's also important for government to be able to allocate enough resources for climate change mitigation. I want us to look at, for instance, the budget proposed for the next financial year. Look at how much has been allocated for instance, management of pollution, which is supposed to be in the ambit of NEMA. But also intersectoral collaboration. How is NEMA working with the Ministry of Water, for instance, on issues of controlling water pollution? How about the role of NEMA on controlling issues of air pollution? Because we see all of a sudden rise in the rates and incidence of cancer. How does that impact the way, how does that impact on the way Ugandans are meeting the brunt of mismanagement of the environment? So with those remarks, honorable members, I would like, just a moment. All right. So we had Seconders of the motion, who should make a quick, brief statement, not more than 3 minutes, and then we will open the debate to the entire House. Proceed.
The Right Honorable Speaker of this sitting, thank you very much. I seconded the motion for a resolution of the Public Parliament urging government to take measures to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change. You all know what is taking place in Karamoja region, that some of the animals are dying. Not only that, but even us, the humans, are affected health-wise. Some of you were standing under the scorching sun. You almost fainted. The heat waves are really life-threatening. So we need to find measures. We need to find ways. The forests are being cut down every other day. What are we doing? As members of parliament, this public sitting, what should we do? And you well know that there is an impact on the energy supply. Not only that, but it also affects the crop yields. Something you expected in probably one month, you end up getting the yields in 3-4 months. So that is famine. I want to say thank you very much, Honorable Speaker of Parliament and members. Please, I respect you.
Thank you. Can we have the seconder?
The Right Honorable Speaker, sir, and the leader of government business, it will be a very big shame to this honorable house when us in the opposition second this motion minus first of all introducing the members of the shadow cabinet. Unfortunately, the leader of government business forgot this. I am very much certain that she works with the team, and it has not come to my notice, the number of the team. So I just beg the clerk to give me more 1 minute on top of the 3 which I'm entitled to as the leader of opposition, to make a brief introduction of the shadow cabinet, because you know it is us who shake the government. So
I'll only give you 1 minute for that.
thank you,
Honourable Member.
Mr. Speaker, sir. My names are Mopendi Osinde. I am the MEP for West Bdama North in Tororo, and I'm the leader of opposition in Parliament. I have a team of the Honorable Nansamba Ruth, who happens to be the opposition chief whip. I have the Honorable Njoroge Yusuf, who is the DP chief whip. I have the Honorable Kisubi Umar, who is the Minister of Agriculture. I have the Honorable...
Order.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Jacob Beyeru, representing the people of Soroti County. Right Honorable Speaker, is it in order for the Honorable Leader of Opposition to declare a member of the Shadow Cabinet a cabinet minister in this democracy? Through you, Mr. Speaker.
It could have been a slip of the tongue. He's out of order. Proceed.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. You see, in most cases, mistakes are human, but it's the same humans who have to correct it. I have the Honorable Lopian Paul Scholes, who is in charge of lands. I have the Honorable Baguma Medi Faizo, who is in charge of education. I have the Honorable Kasirvu Enoch Mark, who is in charge of defense and national security. I have the Honorable Oyuma Onyango, who is the in charge of water and environment. I have the Honorable Musoke Ibrahim in charge of KCCA. The Honorable Nokrach Frank is in charge of presidency.
Procedure, Speaker.
Procedure, Honourable Member.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I'm Honorable Joseph Wabine, representing the people of Kabra constituency in the southwestern district of Riantonde. Oh, Right Honorable Speaker, I think we need to remind ourselves that when we are being given the rules of procedure of this very house, rule number 4, regarding the scope of debate, we are advised to strictly restrict ourselves to the subject matter. Is it procedurally right for the honorable member to stand up and introduce the entire side of the opposition as being members of his cabinet?
Honorable member, the honorable member asked for permission, which I gave. And I only gave him less time so that he does not waste the House's time. Honorable member, proceed very quickly. You have only half a second.
The Honorable Right Speaker, it has come to my knowledge that you're a very wise man with wisdom. And that's why you keep guiding these members who go against our rules. Please, allow me to continue by introducing the Honorable Sebuliba Haddison, who is in charge of foreign affairs. The Honorable Subuga Jack is in charge of Karamoja. The Honorable Oguma Kevin Wanjala is the Attorney General. And finally, the Honorable Daka Ajuna is in our Minister for Finance. Oh, sorry, the last minister I forgot was Honorable Asia Tusime, who is our Internal Affairs. Thank you.
Okay, proceed on the subject matter, honorable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I come to propose the motion, well aware, honorable members of this august house, that us who happen to come from the eastern part of this region, we are in a serious dilemma because of climate change. I personally, for sure, apart from being a honorable member of parliament, I'm also a rice grower in Tororo. I lost close to 10 tons of rice because of the climate differences. It is much of our concern today as members of this august house to debate issues which I think will be to the betterment of this country and to the betterment of our people suffering there. You have experienced, some of you have gone through media, how people are suffering on our side of Karamoja. There's a lot of drought, famine, and all others. All these, coupled with the current climatic conditions, which are not favorable, we hope it will not be of any better part come now, come tomorrow, minus us having some measures to ensure that we control climate change. As the opposition, I know I have very gallant members who are going to debate very passionate issues, and they are going to give very many measures and strategies how us in the opposition we would help government to ensure that we control climate change. I remain the Honorable Mopendi Osinde, Leader of Opposition Parliament, and thank you, my Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, honorable member. Before we proceed, a few announcements. In the gallery, Strangers Gallery, we have this afternoon some members of the 10th Parliament. I would like to mention them, Honorable Kunhira Agnes, MP for Workers, Honorable Namuju Sisi, Woman MP, Luengo District. We have Honorable Eragu Veronica, Kaberamaido County. We have Honorable Bagole John Ngobi, Luuka North. Honorable Anyarach Joshua Kata, Padere County. They have come to observe the proceedings of Parliament. Please join me in welcoming them. Also, just before we proceed, there is another one. Honorable members, in the public gallery, we have a delegation from Luengo District, represented by the 10th Parliament, Honorable Namuju Sisi. They have come to observe the proceedings of the Parliament. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you, honorable members. I now open the motion for debate. Procedure.
Frank Talemwa Mokich, Barra Municipality Constituency. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to understand the kind of precedent that we are trying to set by us, honorable members, to proceed on a motion. I don't know whether it was a courtesy of wireless or internet, that some of us did not receive either a handout, maybe like this, or through our iPads. So we cannot proceed on a pseudo motion or a topic that we are not following.
Members, can I see by a show of hands how many people don't have a copy of the motion? Can we organize internally, clerk? Can we have members get? Can we proceed as members get more copies? I can see more copies being distributed. Honourable members, we have 2 hours for this session. We would not like to bog down the gist of this discussion by indulging so much in rules of procedure.
Okay.
Can we proceed? I thank you.
Right, Honourable Speaker. The members of Parliament present. I'm called Luhiga Twinson, MP, Chinchiz West constituency in Kanungu district. I second and propose this motion on a note that Article 245 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda gives us power, we as parliamentarians, to debate and make or enact laws that will help in the protection and the preservation of the environment. Yes, we've made these laws. We have the National Environment Act, National Forestry and Tree Planting Act, the NEMA, and the National Forestry Authority. These laws we've enacted, however much they have been enacted, still Uganda is facing adverse heat because of environmental degradation. So, we should to put their measures to see that this adverse heat is no more. I call the government that government should ensure, actually we should ensure that through our Prime Minister, the leader of government business, that each contract we engage in with the investors should be in line. We should be in line such that it cannot lead to the abuse and degradation of the environment. For example, take a look. We are much interested in investors coming. Yes, we need jobs, but we are neglecting the issue that Africa or Uganda, we depend on agriculture. So when we bring these investors from outside, yes, we need jobs. We understand. We have very many graduates who want jobs. I support that. We should look for jobs to our graduates, but we should make sure we conserve and preserve the environment first. Because, for example, take a look in Namamve. Namamve, yes, we call investors, they come and make business, they set up factories, we get employment for our children, but they have destroyed a lot of swamps there, which is the reason why we are facing a lot of adverse heat. Take a look in Isinjilo. Take a look in Kalamoja. Most of the districts in Kanungu, rather in Uganda, are facing the problem. It's not only in Kalamoja. Most of the districts are facing the problem. Right, Honorable Speaker, I call you and the leader of government business that whatever contract we engage in with the investors or people from or foreigners, let's make sure we favor ourselves first. We should not look for jobs, yet we are destroying the swamps that will help us bring green that supports our agriculture. Another measure is all developments in wetlands and forest reserves should be destroyed. I support this, and I call my fellow members of parliament from my side and you from the opposition support this. If we bring investors, we take them. Let's say, for example, I will give a live example because I will give an example of Namamve because it's a live example. We should make sure if they can, because they have already violated, they have already abused the environment. We know the swamps are already been degraded. So I call the government of Uganda through the Prime Minister, the leader of government business, that those people who have engaged, who have set up factories there, at least, because it's very grave to abolish those buildings, let them look for, we give them land somewhere else, they plant trees for the government free. They use all their resources, money and make sure we give them land somewhere, because we government have a lot of vast land. We give them land and let them plant trees for the government free of charge. That's the penalty we can give them. Because now if we say they demolish all they have set up on these swamps, they have demolished, they have degraded, we are sending our students home who are working in those factories. Another measure, I will call the government through the Prime Minister and ask the parliamentarians to introduce strong and deterrent punishments. We should punish these people. We should punish these people who have...
Procedure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to remind Honorable MP that our rule number 1 of this August House says that each member should debate for only 30 minutes. Is it in 3? 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Honourable Member, you didn't mention your name and where you come from.
Okay, I'm called Edward Natamba from Rahama County in Ntungamo District. So is it in order for Honourable Member really to go ahead and take much of the time that would be used for other honourables? Thank you.
The Honourable Member is summarizing. Please, can you just say your last point and give other members an opportunity?
All right, thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I was summarizing and actually concluding that government should set up strong and deterrent punishments. These people should be strongly punished for the cause they have, for the degradation they have caused to the swamps, to the forest, and on top of that, we should make sure that people who are breaking rules and actually going into forest.
Summarize. Are you done? Can you conclude?
I'm concluding my...
Please conclude.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I was concluding saying that these people who are cutting down trees, I'm concluding.
Protected?
Sorry?
You're protected?
Yeah. I was concluding saying that these people who are cutting down trees, abusing and degrading swamps should be punished. They pay money to the government, which money we shall use to buy tree seedlings and give to our citizens in the villages there to make sure that each homestead plants trees such that we can conserve.
Honourable Member, your point is made. Can we have...
Thank you.
Can we have members contributing to the motion?
Point of clarification. Point of clarification.
Can we proceed on the subject matter of the motion? Can I have contributors? Contributors? Yeah. Contributor, let's have an honourable member with specs. Tell us your name and who you represent. You proceed.
My name is Letakor Everest Kadom, LLB for Makerere, representing Pian constituency Nakapre District Karamoja. I'm also the chairperson Karamoja Parliamentary Group for the purpose of this house.
Proceed on your substantive matter.
I support the motion. I support the motion, but I have additions to make into the motion. Based on my place of birth being Karamoja, I'm very well conversant with what environmental issues are. And it's actually become a global issue. And for our case being Uganda, we are almost becoming a dumping ground. And one of the issues that has been very pertinent, has been the big cause of this environmental problem, is liberalization. We have opened so much our economy to investors who are just interested in maximization of profits. However much we have tried as government to put in place environmental impact assessment, you find out that this has been flawed. And I argue and request this house that when we're passing laws, we should put restrictions that, in fact, government has to ensure that these environmental impact assessments are strictly followed and never compromised. Another thing that we have observed is that we are good at passing laws but never implementing them. It's not just about passing good laws, but we should also make sure that these laws are followed and implemented. What does this call for? This calls for budgetary allocations. We have to make sure that when we're passing a law, we have also to precondition that such a law actually is funded such that it is well implemented.
Just a moment before I give information. When an honorable member is making a submission on the floor of the House, please respect him by sitting down, because you'll not be listening to what he's saying. So it will not be actually easy to make a response to his submission. Let's remember our rules of the House. Let me have information. Members standing up on information. Information. I had information from a corner. Information. Then I'll come this side. Information.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I'm giving information to my colleague here, the Representative Honourable, saying the Parliament of Uganda made an investigation, the 10th Parliament made an investigation through the Committee on Natural Resources. But on that information, when they reached on the fishing, on Lake Victoria, where fish farming was going on, carried out with a permit from the Minister of Agriculture and the from the Minister of Agriculture, but the person who was carrying out fish farming on that very lake, certain Lake Victoria, that person had a permit of doing fish farming, but rather he insisted on doing sand mining, which is now causing climate change in our country. So through Mr. Speaker, through Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to give the information to my colleague.
Information taken. Can the honourable member proceed? The member was on the floor. You have only 1 minute.
Thank you.
Much obliged, Right Honourable Speaker.
Yeah.
I was just concluding my remarks. I would also try to drive this house to the point that we need to investigate actually a scenario in Karamoja where it is alleged by the general public that there is perpetuation of environmental exploitation by the so-called government individuals or investors who are actually having a hand of government. So I drive this house, if at all we can try to investigate the real cause of this problem, if at all we as government ourselves have a hand in this. Thank you.
Thank you, honourable member. Can we have members?
Mr. Speaker, sir, clarification.
Honourable member, can we take the lady?
Mr. Speaker, sir,
Honourable
clarification.
member?
Clarification.
Objected.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I'm by names of Kembawaz Caroline, Member of Parliament from Ntungamo District, Kajara County. Right Honourable Speaker, through you, sir, I would like to emphasize on the issue of government regular compulsory tree planting in all homesteads. Look here, we have something like Youth Go Green around for the climate change, and we have our CEO, Mr. Edwin Muhumuza, and of recently he was worldwide. Actually, he attended an international climate change seminar. But to my surprise, here in Uganda, the government has not even supported any single homestead to plant a tree. We are not facilitated at all. So I'm calling upon the government through our leader of government business to take the measure and...
let the honourable member submit, then you'll inform her.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. To take the measure, and they encourage youth at least to have each homestead with a tree planting. I'm taking this opportunity through this house that the government is trying to enact laws, but people are not vacating the areas. For example, look at the people of Kasokoso and around the other area of Namave. People are not moving. We need to encourage our fellow people to look through the government laws and appreciate that our government is really emphasizing this drought. For example, look at the people dying with hunger. It's because there is no rain. If these people could vacate the wetlands, could plant trees, really, and enact this governmental wetland and forests.
Information.
Really, we could have more than. Sir, you would have got a permission from the speaker, of which you are not yet given.
Honourable members, you know, I would like to be as balanced as I can be. But also, let's respect our time. When we speak, let's speak to the point, but also speak with facts. The other one is that I would like us to utilize the little time we have as much as possible in terms of debating the substantive motion, rather than push this debate through points of order, procedure. It's going to really bog us down. If you agree with me, honourable members. Okay, can we now have, there is an honourable member. There's an honourable member with disability. I want to give that opportunity to that honourable member. Can you stand up? Can you take the floor? I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My name is Sarah Eperu, the woman member of Parliament, Ngora. This time I've come as mock, but I want to assure you 2021 I'll come the real thing. I'm here to support the motion, but I think with an amendment. I would seek us to insert that government should improve on unemployment. I came from Ngora yesterday. For some of you who come use that road to Soroti, you must have seen my home. It was blown off by the wind, and I'm in the preparation of putting the roof back. Why has that happened? You know, many of us from Teso have many trees, predominantly mango trees. But unfortunately, the youth in Teso are unemployed. And because they are unemployed, they have resorted to charcoal burning. And the many trees that we used to have before, the mango trees, have been cut down. That is why we are having that terrible drought in Teso sub-region. Surprisingly, when I ask people at home, we no longer have rats. There's no food for rats. Then I saw the environment was very clean. There are no flies. There's no food even for flies. So that is the state that Teso is in. Even the whole Uganda is in. But if we had improved on employment, for example, if they had put a factory of juice in Teso sub-region, all my mango trees would still be there. But because the boys, the few that are employed, do you know what we do here? They are Securico, they are in Saracen, and peanuts. The rest are cutting down our trees. So I would like to advise government to create factories, create employment. Look at the 87% of the youth that are unemployed. That is where government should, look to in order to solve the other environmental disasters that we are having.
You done with your submission, honourable member? Are you done with your submission?
No. Let me. I'm going to be very.
Summarize. Just conclude.
So, in summary, let us not come here and lament. I would love us, all the resolutions we have passed, I would love to see government implement them. So that I've not had to drive all the way from Ngora to come here, and then they are going to sit on them. These things you have said them over and over again. Another thing that I would put emphasis on is the cutting down of forests. Much as my boys in Teso who are unemployed are cutting down on forests, even government itself, I think remember sometime we almost lost Mavira, and many of our forests have been cut down. That is why we are having this state of drought in this country. So as I conclude, I would advise government to implement whatever we resolve here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you, honourable member. I have another one announcement. I've devised a way of making it equitable for everyone to speak at least. And that means we're going to reduce on the time at least from 3 minutes to at least 2 minutes. Now, also, I would rather you stand on a point of debate rather than a point of information, because you are actually spoiling your own time, which you are going to use later on. Let me make this announcement. You can resume your seats. Actually, when the speaker is speaking, members, you need to sit down. Let me make an announcement, and then I will proceed with the debate. In the Distinguished Strangers Gallery this afternoon, we have Honorable Kakama Kankiriho Moses, Kashari North County, who has come to observe the proceedings. You're welcome, Honorable Member. Now, 2 minutes, and I'll start with this side. Yes, Honorable Member. 2 minutes.
Thank
2
you.
minutes, then I'll go this side.
Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Edgar Francis from Zimbabwe. And on the motion, I would like to bring the notice to the August House that people of Zimbabwe do not have piped water. And as a result, for us in Zimbabwe, we are facing drought and famine from January to December. So, as a result of climate change, it affects us heavily. And therefore, I request government to extend piped water to Zimbabwe region. And since the people of Zimbabwe are pastoralists, we have no water, our cows are dying, we have no food, and I therefore request the House to put Zimbabwe on the first page when we are acting. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Can we have those who have not... let's have the Honorable Member. Two minutes strictly.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and the dear members of the honorable members of the August House. I'm Lopian Paul Scholes, representing Napak District, Karamoja region. We should not come here and over and again lament that the government.
Honorable Member, which constituency?
Sorry?
Which constituency, Honorable Member?
Napak District, Karamoja region. We shall come here and we sing songs of praise and worship, saying that the government should establish the measures of resolving, going away with environmental degradation. But we have other things, other important things to discuss. Let the government first advance measures of introducing and establishing effective measures of eradicating illiteracy in the country. This will set us in the field of sensitizing the public about the bads or the dangers of environmental degradation, in that it will still give the chance to train the anthropologists who will come deep in the villages to establish the problems faced in the localities or in local communities, so that we can still come with effective solutions towards eradication of environmental degradation. Next thing, the government should emphasize in establishing measures of advancing or eradicating literacy or boosting literacy rates, so that we can come up with social researchers in the country, Uganda, so that they will be in a position to bring radical changes in different localities, other than us coming here lamenting that we should tell the government, or we should request the government over and again to come up with just plain measures of eradicating environmental degradation in the country. Thank you very much.
Okay, can we have the honorable member? 2 minutes each. Just a moment, honorable member, before you proceed. I know that there are tactics members are using to get my eye, but also they're falsifying their intentions by telling me they want to rise on a matter of national importance. I want to let you know that according to the order paper for today, if there was a space for matters of national importance, we'll be discussing those. But I'll try as much as possible to give you opportunity. Proceed, honorable member.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker of this People's Parliament.
My name is Naulia Frank, representing Lubaga North. So I happen to be residing in Kampala, and the issues I'm going to be talking about via climate change are from Kampala. So before I proceed, Honorable Speaker of this Honorable Parliament, I would like to invite her to ask you, you gave them chance to introduce their cabinet on opposition. This is the sitting government in leading now. So at least we would like to ask them
Point of order.
about it.
Point
I
of
don't know.
order.
I need to be protected. It's your
Point
the
of
one guy
order.
in this house, sir.
Honorable member.
Yeah.
Point of order.
I know that you're trying to be innovative.
Yeah.
But I think in the interest of time,
Yeah.
can we reserve that for another sitting?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, there's a point here, but now, the issue today we're discussing via climate change. I have a challenge with the current government. Though I'm NRM and I'm a minister in this sitting government, but there's a challenge. Environmental degradation is going on, and government is not clearly helping people to be innovative and trying to devise means of helping out. I have a group of people, a group of youths that have come here to represent, and they have displayed their charcoal making stalls there. But they have not been supported. I would urge government to at least purchase these machines and give them out free of charge to the people that are interested in this kind of business, so that they can help and reduce on cutting the trees that is going on in the country. So that's one of the ways that we can tackle climate change that is disturbing the country. The second point is, I also, like, when I look at this, point number 6 says, government introduces special obligations on recycling and emission control, as well as the use of energy from renewable sources. Government should come up with true and, as in, serious ways. Because we have research centers like URI, Uganda Industrial Research Institute, where they research on everything. They should come up with serious ways on how they can advise a layman on preserving the environment. On this point, I would like to end here, and thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Honourable Member, for taking your time. Can we have the Honourable Member? Then we shall have another Honourable Member in your order. Then we shall have the Honourable Member. Make sure you take your number. And then we shall have an Honourable Member there. Can we have those 4 first go? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. My name's Anna Samba Ruth from Chadondo East constituency, where Dr. Besigye resides. And I'm the opposition chief whip in this current government. Uganda has been stated to be among the countries that are greatly vulnerable to climate change. And I believe it has bodies, all institutions, to minimize the cause of climate change. What are the roles of NEMA? Talk of the National Forest Authority. What are they doing to curb this situation? We have the meteorological department. What have all these departments done to curb down these causes, these effects to the country? I urge you, the nation, I urge you, these bodies, to do their roles. Let them put at least mitigation measures. If any tree is cut from the parish, from the village, actually, let's not talk to this let's not give it to the broad view, but from the parish, from the village, each tree you cut. Look at yesterday, the other time we were going to Buikwe. I'm telling you, the forest that was really thick, even rats could pass through.
Information in 5 seconds.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm Geoffrey Mugisha, Youth Leader, Ruaga Division. I would like to inform the precurrent speaker that she's been addressing us on the matter of trees, but I will try to let her know that we need trees for home use, because the government has not really educated the people enough on how to use these trees. But trees can also be used for home. This is furniture. So when you bring in laws that actually negatively and affect the people, it is not really good for the public. And I would like to also inform the precurrent speaker that the government has not really done enough in sensitizing the people on the wetlands, on the swamps. The swamps are being reclaimed by the people. As the government is looking on, different government bodies are looking on. So whatever is in the order, people actually.
Yeah, point is made, Honourable Member. I think what we're talking about now here is sustainable resource management. Proceed, Honourable Member, for 1 minute.
Further information.
No. You'll be given opportunity.
I'm urging to the
1
government.
minute, Honourable Member.
I'm urging to the government, at least let's sensitize the people. Let's raise awareness. Some people don't know even these climate changes. What are they? What do they mean to the country? Yes.
Rejected. Proceed.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. The order in which I chose you, only members I told to speak next should be standing. Yes, the honourable
Mr.
member.
Speaker, sir, I think I was chosen first, and I would like to introduce myself and say...
Honourable member, please resume your seat.
I was chosen first, Mr.
Resume your seat, honourable member. You'll be given an opportunity. Honourable member, proceed.
I'm called Immaculate Auma from Workers' Constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, the issue of climate change is an urgent one. And there are many laws which have been enacted. The problem we are facing in Uganda here is the implementation. So I would suggest that we find ways on how to enforce implementation. Then we see how to handle the issue of climate change. But if we continue saying we enact other new laws, I don't know whether we shall fight this menace.
Information.
Excuse me, as the honourable member, you finish your submission? You'd rather stand on your own point of debate. Balancing, the next one I'd asked, only those I'd given. I'm going to give you another round, don't worry. So if I didn't mention your name, please don't stand for now. Proceed, honourable member.
Right, Honourable Speaker. I am Mayanja Richard Semazi, representing Entebbe Municipality. The motion on this floor is really wonderful and timely, cause the climatic changes cut across regardless of one's political ideology, religious belief, or cultural background. The unfortunate thing today is the fact that there is lack of will to ensure that the enacted laws are put in place to check. Today, we are talking about a project that has really sounded even on international media. That's the Luera project. We have a problem that many of the people interested with running public offices in the interest of the common man have failed to deliver as expected. National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, came out recently and gave evidence that it had certified the Ruela project for a different project, which was fish cage farming, but they ended up having sand mining. That means the people in these offices are either incompetent or are not willing to offer a government the right service because of the kitu kidogo. They sit back, relax in their seats, swing, and let these things go untampered with because the investor gave them something little to eat.
I look at item number 9, where government should ensure that trees are planted on all sides of the major highways in this country. I happen to come from Entebbe. 10 years ago, we hosted Chogam here, and one of the biggest projects was tree planting along the Entebbe highway. If you come to Entebbe today, you will cry with me that the trees, which cost government a lot of money, have been cut down to give way to the Entebbe Highway Express project. Who plans for this government? Who doesn't know that in a given period of time we shall have this project running, and we should have this project instituted in the right places?
Remember, a point is made. I had already selected one member of parliament that side. After it's done, then we shall do another round. Honourable member, proceed.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Justice Simaruhanga, Member of Parliament.
Honourable member, that was not you who was chosen. Honourable member, proceed. You resume your seat, Honourable member. Let the Honourable member was chosen earlier speak.
I'm Chiviri Siraj, representing the members of Ukwe North.
Use your microphone, Honourable member.
I'm Honourable Chiviri Siraj, representing the people of Ukwe North. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to advise the members that before we blame the government or urge the government, let us first advise the people of Uganda to come back to God. Because however much we fight on the issue of environmental change, climate change, if people have not loved God, if people have not come back to God, actually God may refuse also to change the climate, however much we shall work. That's what I had. Thank you very much.
I want to take another round. I'm going to take another round of 3 from each side. And I want gender balance as well. I want to see a lot of gender. And then I'll also give some special recognition. There are members who have given me their request to speak. I'll give them a minute each after this. But let's give, so on this side, can we have honourable member? Can we have the lady in grey? And then, no, not on the front bench. Can I have the honourable member on this side, in that order? Then on this side, can we have a lady, honourable member? Can we have lead of government business? You got substantive. Okay, I'll take that. And then there is a lady with specs. I'll give that an opportunity. Then there are those, can you resume your seats, others? In that order, can we proceed? And then I'll give those who have given me the names a minute each. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker of the August House. I'm by the names Taiso Timothy Tolbert, representing Bulambuli District, Elgon County. Okay, I want to talk about the issue of climate change. On climate change, you want to look at what the government has so far done. I'm standing in for the Deputy Prime Minister on the ruling party. So on the issue of climate change, we are going to look at what our President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, has done so far to address the climate change problem. First of all, we all remember that late last year, the President was involved in camping in Luwero district, in the Luwero Triangle, and he was involved in irrigation farming. He went from village to village, indicating and showing people how to carry out irrigation, or using the bottle, simple methods that can be carried out by members of the opposition in your different constituencies. And I know when you carry out such type of irrigation, it's affordable.
Information, honourable member. Information, honourable member.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I think this is Amutiri Innocent Rukunjiri Municipality. This man is, the Honorable Speaker, is all about agriculture, but we are here on a climate change, whereby we should be giving issues that should help the government on how to solve environmental problems, but not telling us agriculture. That will come later. Thank you.
Member, information taken. Can you proceed? Honorable Member, proceed.
Thank you very much. So on the issue I was talking of irrigation. It's a way of setting up crop plantations that will attract rain at the end of the day and help in solving the issue of climate change.
Allow the member make his point.
Another problem, another issue we're trying to look at, we're looking at from where I come from, Bulambuli constituency. We are located on the Mount Elgon region. On Mount Elgon, we have forest cover and land that has been gazetted by the Ministry of Lands away from intrusion by the people. The Wananchi from intruding on the forest land who carry out charcoal burning and all the like. So the government is trying to find solutions to the many issues that we're having in relation to climate change. It's not sleeping, it's taking action, and it is going to provide a solution. On another issue of tree planting, because we are looking at solutions to climate change problems. On the issue of tree planting, the government of Uganda, the central government, in conjunction with the Uganda government, has ensured and made it a point that during the introduction ceremonies within the Uganda kingdom, the government is, in conjunction with the Uganda government, it is making it a point that the groom's side, during the introduction ceremony that they call Okwanjula in Luganda, the groom side is given a tree as they return back to where they came from. So I believe if
Conclude, Honourable Member. Conclude. Conclude, Honourable Member. I gave members, I tried to redefine the rules of procedure, Honourable Members. We have little time. We would like to decide, we would like actually to vote on this motion. Now, if you want to eat, because I can actually give it to you, we wrangle in procedure, in order, and so on, and then you end up with no resolution. Can we actually debate? Rise. I would rather you stand up and say I want to speak, honorable members. So can we have, in the order in which I gave the information rejected, can we have people want to speak on the substantive matter of the debate? Can you proceed, honorable member?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, People's Parliament. I'm Namaya Nje Aisha Zaid, Greenfield Media Academy, a woman MP, Wachiso District. As the motion is, we are looking for the procedures that can allow our people who voted us to overcome the issue of the climate changes. First of all, let us educate people, our people who voted us. Let us educate them how to love their lives. The government is not going to come door by door producing trees, producing each and everything to them. No, we as the MPs whom they voted for, we are the one to educate them, to plant trees, to clean themselves, to prepare themselves for the future. My second point is all about that planting of trees. The planting of trees is almost everywhere, but take a look at the government, what is doing. You look at the area surrounding you, it's surrounded by by the furnitures. They were all trees. If people try and plant trees, the government are the one which sends their what?
You've made your point, honorable member. Can we have the next honorable member? Proceed.
Thank you, Right Honorable. My name is Esther Namboka Emoru, representing Bududa. Honorable Speaker, sir, 78% of Uganda's population is comprised of the youth. Not forgetting the immense contribution that the youth have done for this country. Mr. Speaker, it is on that note that I propose that can the government use the same youth to become the ambassadors of climate change, with a big recognition of 5 youth who have done outstanding work in tree planting to be recognized with national medals. In so doing, that will motivate this network of youth, and a big change and will be sent to this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for managing your time. Can we have the Honorable Member? In that order, then we shall have...
Join Mr. Speaker, sir.
The Honorable Member of Parliament with specs will speak after you, Honorable.
The Right Honorable Speaker, I'm Kevin Wanjala Ouma, the Land Attorney General in the Shadow Cabinet. So my colleagues there, do not be worried. I'm commenting on and debating on this motion. I represent Busia Municipality. You know, Order 27 of the National Objectives and Directive Principles and State Policy is clear, and all colleagues, the honorable members of Parliament, have been commenting about it, but I want to relate it to Article 22, that is protection of a right to life. As the Land Attorney General of the Shadow Cabinet, it's my duty to enlighten you on matters of the law and also to call you to the attention of this article. So no person shall be deprived of a right to life intentionally, except with the execution of a sentence passed by a competent court of law. That is clear. Let me relate it to this debate. We have our colleagues down there in the areas of Kaberebere, that side of Isinjiro, who are dying of hunger because of environmental degradation. We have all state authorities that are relevant. NEMA, what? These authorities, name them all. They've not played their role. So I'm calling upon this House to consider it to be relevant that we increase on the issue of agriculture, the budget spending on agriculture, and also emphasis and sensitization on agriculture. So if farming can be boosted at subsistence level and also at an extensive level, maybe championed by government or some sort of circles, whatever they call them, I apologize for the language, so that we boost agriculture, and in these farms, people can grow trees to improve the environment. Government has come up with a bottle scheme of irrigation, which is not sustainable. We've seen
Information.
before launches.
Point of information.
So today, I'm calling upon the government to launch a massive irrigation scheme.
Information?
Thank you very much, colleague, for giving way. I am Honorable Saddam Hussein Dwane from Arua Municipality. The point of the information I want to give this August House is that Uganda has one of the best policies that relates to issues to do with the environment. Now, Uganda has a fully fledged Ministry of Water and Environment. It has NEMA, that is the National Environmental Management Authority. But ask yourself, do these people have enough manpower to handle all this? And then the other issue, it relates to the issue of funding. So it will be very important for this August House to really put to task the government so that the issue of funding, the issue of staff, manpower can be added to its authorities. Thank you.
Yeah,
that is information I
Thank you,
wanted to
Honourable Member. Information taken. 1 minute to conclude.
Honourable members of Parliament, for as long as our colleagues out there are suffering of hunger and a kilo of posho is costing 3,300 shillings in Teso region and the Eastern region as a whole, we cannot stand here and talk about this pseudo-environmental policy without touching the issues that are depriving our people of a right to life. A right to life is inherent and not granted by the state. So we have to uphold values of farming and extensive irrigation, other than talking about planted tree, planted tree,
Point of
cut
order,
tree,
Mr.
burn
Speaker.
charcoal. These are small issues. We are dying of hunger. Very soon, members of parliament will not be able to come here because they can't afford a plate of food.
The honorable member, the lady in specs, could you come and make your submission? And then, in that order, as I gave it, I'll take another round. Just take your seats. Madam, can you proceed, honorable?
Honorable Speaker.
You could lower the you could lower the microphone for the honorable member.
Honorable Speaker and the Honorable Member of Parliament, my name is Jane Francis Namba Saluchamuzi from KKB, Wakiso District, KKB Zone, Kajansi Town Council.
Speak to the microphone, honorable member.
What I'm saying about on this issue before I narrate my issue on this motion, I've been reading the Uganda Vision 2040, but chapter 2, article 2.28 says sustainable and equitable development, which means sustainable development is about using resources to meet human needs while preserving the environment for several decades. Now, to relate it on this issue we are making now, it is now, I'm thankful so that the government has come out to see that for us we are analog, but this time we were taking everything in digital. Now you are seeing the thing. For analog, where we are doing the thing which is able to sustain that land.
Honorable Speaker, information.
Rejected. Rejected.
According to the government introduction to the motion, number 4, government introduces strong and deterrent punishment against the person who defends the environment. I am asking you do it amicably, other than doing it like that, with those people who are using that land.
Thank you, honorable member. We had this side. Who was the next? We had the honorable
The
member.
independence, Mr. Speaker.
If you're not the last selected members, let's have him. In that order, that was you. Can you take that position? Then, yeah, I've seen so many hands, but let him
The
first.
independence, Mr. Speaker.
You're going to catch my
Please,
eye. Just
order, please.
just hold on. And then I've not seen somewhere in the corner there. Just sit down. Can we resume our seats when the honorable member is about to speak? Procedure. Right honorable speaker.
Right honorable speaker, I want to request that you give opportunity to all people from walks of life to have a say. I am Honorable Joseph Okedi, representing UPDF. And being a soldier, I feel that our voices should also be heard. Thank you very much.
You'll be taken in the next round.
Thank you.
Can you proceed, honorable member?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, right honorable speaker. I'm by the names Mutawe Dalton. I come from Chadondo North, Wakiso District. I'm here to put in my submission about the climate change. Right honorable speaker and the members at large, we need to focus on the practical ideologies of embarking this change. Change itself is not the problem, because it can be changed to the good or to the bad. But we need to understand climate. Climate itself, you cannot talk about it without talking about weather. You can't talk about weather without understanding atmosphere and the components that make atmosphere. There is an ecosystem that God created, and man himself is just a beneficiary of it all. So, we need to understand the sources, because if we are going to, we need to focus so much on the prevention, because it is more cheaper than looking at the punishment on which people will get if they distort the what? The environment. So, I want you to know that this ecosystem is designed of the water bodies, wetlands, land itself, and then the wild animals. They are very, very big participants in this ecosystem. And man,
order.
For a honorable member to go right to the speaker while honorable member is on floor, is it in order?
The sergeant at arms should be doing his job. Proceed, honorable member.
thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was trying to bring out a point that there is a lot of ignorance in the people that we represent, which is actually supposed to be our job, but we also have to understand what you are going to what? To teach them. Because there is no reason as to why we should think about the 10 years or something like that of the punishment of people who are ignorant about the need for them to even have this what? These things by themselves. Because you can talk about deforestation. Why would people need not to deforest, to do the deforestation? That is where I think we need to focus so much. That these people need to understand that the things that change climate include rain formation, they include the wetland conservation, land itself, and even we avoid the poaching of wild animals, so that because they are all participants in the what? In the formation of weather and what? So,
order, please.
I wanted us to look into this. That we are not going to be.
Honorable, could you be concluding? Huh? Be concluding. Yeah?
Order,
wind up on your point, honorable.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is actually I'm formulating a research proposal, and I have connected with Madam Kaya Christine, the program coordinator. When it is finished, I will present it there, and then they will be able to look through it as well. But I want us to know that
information, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable member, just wind up. Just wind up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay.
I just wanted us to look so much on the conservation and preservation of the what? Of these
Honorable member, can you allow the honorable member to make his submission? You're eating up in your time, which you'll want to stand up to speak.
Exactly. Thank you so much for the protection, Honorable Speaker. So we need to go back from ourselves to understand the ideologies that we are going to teach the people, than going to them to tell them about the law, which is going to be what? To condemn them if they break these what? These rules. We need to bring knowledge, right from schools, to make up work plans, to make up teaching manuals to the children, so that they know exactly what they are dealing with and why we need to conserve the environment. That is my submission.
Thank you so much, honorable member. I'm now taking a rejected honorable member in the interest of time. I want to take, in the interest of time, I think for this debate, we have now just about 20 minutes. Clerk, can I clarify on that? 25 minutes. Now, I'm going to give, I'm very conscious about that. Don't worry, I'm going to get 2 honorable members of parliament who are female this side, and 2 honorable members of parliament who are male this side. And then, and I'm going to do that. Then also to this side. So can I take that? Can I have honorable member, lady, honorable member, male, honorable member, lady?
Speaker.
Yeah?
Speaker.
Honorable? And then, honorable member, lady. Mark your numbers, otherwise somebody will take your number. Let me also get before here.
I'm by the name of Mara Calvin.
Procedure.
Right,
honorable member.
Honorable members, I'm by the name of Mara Calvin.
Honorable member. And 2 ladies. Where are the honorable members?
I'm by the
procedure.
Name of Mara
Those who have not said the word before.
Raise
on this side. Honorable member, we can have the honorable member and the honorable member. Mark your numbers in that order. Can we proceed? You'll be the next after this round.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order, please.
My name's Sarah Aguti. I'm representing Doklo District. First of all, I want to look at and put it in form of a question like, how much have the government of Uganda invested in the ministry, for example, environment? This topic we are given is broad and we need to give it a broader look. And it moves hand in hand with the agriculture. What I want to say under this is that there's mob cutting down of trees, which is done every here and there. And this one is brought about by increase in population. People down there in the villages are producing day and night. Numbers are increasing, but we are not taking it into consideration. I want us to see it that when a family has enlarged, somebody grows up, want also to begin his own family away from the father, they have to cut trees and create homes and create gardens. So what are we looking at in form of population control? We are talking about environment, we are talking about degradation, we are talking about mitigation. So what are we doing on that? We need to come up with a conclusion then on that. Secondly, people don't have enough land. First of all, that is why we are extending up to what? Up to the wetlands. That one also takes us back to population control, which also have negative part of it. And we need to, that's why I said the topic is broad. We just don't have to look on top what is causing this before we talk about getting people out of the wetlands. What is causing people to go into the wetlands?
Point of order.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Another point I want to talk
Point of
about,
order.
number 3, is about poor
The
supervision.
honorable member is protected.
Order, please.
Well, I want to talk about poor supervision and management. We shall allow this, that people will be removed, but managing and supervision is very poor, which is done by who? Who is supposed to do this and who is supposed to monitor and do the proper management? There is always abuse
Allow
of...
the honorable member to make her submission. 1 minute to conclude, honorable member.
Thank you for that, Mr. Speaker. As we talk about management, I was saying people are given offices and people have been abusing it. They can talk about removing people from wetlands, and you find it done in a wrong way, without proper supervision and monitoring. Those are the things I want us to look at before we close or before we leave this house. To add on the point where my sister brought over from Soroti, over Kabera Maido on agriculture, we have abused the system of distributing seeds for planting. I have a picture in my phone where a truck was loaded with the cassava stems to take for people to plant in November when we already...
Order, honorable member, order.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Is it through you, Mr. Honorable Speaker, I want to know whether it is in order for an honorable member of parliament to refer to other honorable members of parliament as over Mr. Who, over who, such kind of language while debating. Thank you very much, sir.
The honorable member is still learning how to use parliamentary language. Honorable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I was saying that
Conclude, honorable member, conclude. Can we have the next honorable member?
Procedure.
Okay, thank you.
Procedure.
Procedure.
I am Mwambu Herbert Sironko, Daddy West. Is it in order?
You said
Right Honorable Speaker, sir.
You rose on a point of procedure.
Yes, procedure. Is it in order?
You're now using a point of order?
I had to introduce myself first, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable member, it's either a point of procedure you're raising on or a point of order. Which is it? Clarify.
Is it procedure right? Is it procedure right for the Honorable Speaker to forget about the backbenchers? Right Honorable Speaker, sir, in the beginning you said you're going to be Speaker for everybody. Please see us also. Thank you.
Point of procedure noted, honorable member. But if you also notice, actually the people who are speaking are from all shades and locations in this house. Can we proceed with the honorable member who is scheduled to speak next? Thank you. Resume your seats, honorable members.
Yeah, thank you, sir, Honorable Speaker. I'm called Jamuhebwa Bernard from Isinjiro, Bukanga constituency. I'm here to debate on the motion of today. Major will emphasize on this point 11, point 2, and then point 3. We are talking of destroying developments in wetlands and other environmental places which should be preserved. We shall first and foremost think of how these people think maybe their activities are good and how we can advise them that through their activities, such a, for example, carrying out farming is going to destroy the environment, and what are the outcomes that will be maybe from those activities. For example, take an example, someone who is reclaiming the swamp to make a farm where to rear animals and whatever. It's good, it's better we go down, we carry out public education as we're having public debate today in this parliament. We tell them that where it is good to have farms where to rear animals to increase on productivity of milk and whatever, but we show them the other side of the coin, how such an activity will affect Uganda at large. I will not go far on that point. I will immediately go to point 2, where we are talking of illegal settlements in the swamp. Ignorance of the law is not a defense, according to the laws of Uganda. So for those people who have settled in wetlands or in other preserved areas of Uganda illegally, we should, at least the government of Uganda or people of Uganda in general, we should go deep and we make sure that those settlements, for example, are destroyed and removed from those swamps because they are there illegally. Then my last point will be on the procedures. When you read registration of Titles Act, it is clear there are procedures followed to register the land. Those people have been registered to settle in the wetlands or to carry out those activities in wetlands should be again removed. Of course, it's the duty of the government now to show the public that is still having the interest in that land to remove those members who are in wetlands or other preserved areas, and to make sure that
Point of information, right, Honorable Speaker.
If they are going,
Information, Honorable Speaker.
make sure that if they are going to carry out
I
registration,
beg to get the room, Honorable Speaker.
Information.
Thank you, right, Honorable Speaker. Actually, I have reservations towards resolution number 11. And basing on the point my honorable brother is raising, I beg to comment that we wouldn't pass resolution number 11 as it is because it will have legal implications. Basing on that, there could be people settling on the said lands with value and without notice. Actually, let me say bona fide occupants. We shall, actually, when we sanction this law like this, we shall be dragging government into various litigations because they will be making complaints. They got bona fide titles on the said lands. Otherwise, we should be prepared to compensate the said people. Thank you.
Okay, proceed, Honourable Member.
Yeah, in the conclusion,
Rejected, Honourable Member.
considering on the registration of the land, for example, when someone is going to register the land as the real appropriator or the registered appropriator of that land, which the government or the people concerned, the authority concerned, should try by all means to make enough survey before registering such a people. Because you find that someone who has, or the authority responsible has carried out registration without making the enough survey, and finally we find that there are some conflicts between the people and the authorities responsible. So in my view, therefore, let always enough survey be made. Thank you.
Point of information.
As the Honourable Member finished, when an Honourable Member concludes a submission, it's better that you let it pass.
you.
Can we proceed with...
Point of procedure, Mr. Chairman.
Guidance, can other members sit down? Let's hear the point of guidance, Honourable Member.
Information. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Please, for the purpose of guidance to my dear Honourable members in the August House, I'm called Msema Swale, representing people of Terego constituency. Please, it will be for the interest of other members. If you stick direct to the point, you hit the point, you give us the point, make your way forward to that, so that we have enough time to debate. Other than debating, giving us a lot of historical background, which may not help the August House. Please, let's stick to the point, and we give resolution for it.
And Honourable Member, can we sit down, Honourable Members? Can I give you a point of privilege to make your submission in 1 minute?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. My dear Honourable Members, the issue we are talking today about the climatic changes is that we must understand what are these economic activities which are taking place, which are affecting our environment today. One of the issues we must consider is that the issue of degradation, environmental degradation, is a big issue. Why is it happening? Sure. Look at the impact, the issue of unemployment. Look at the issue of the taxes which are being employed, which are being enforced on the what? On some of these things. Environmental degradation happens to take the ways, the form of one. We look at the aspect of unemployment, where the youth engage themselves in cutting the trees in order to get opportunities of charcoal burning. But if you look at the issue of the charcoal, you will find that towards the end of last year, you bear it with me that there were various number of trucks which were loaded, bringing full trucks with charcoals. But if you look at, they were bringing them towards Kampala. But now the issue is, are there no other alternative resources in Kampala, in the central, that people can use? Talk about the electricity.
Okay, Honourable Member, your point is made. Can we proceed with the earlier selections that I had made? I had made earlier selections and I want to follow those. There was an Honourable Member in the back. Have you all changed your positions? There was a lady in the back there. The lady and then that gentleman. Yeah?
Mr. Speaker.
Then, just a moment. Can we sit down, Honourable Members?
Backbenchers, please.
The Honourable Member, the Honourable Member, the Honourable Member. There is, just a moment, take your positions. And then, there was an Honourable Member I'd chosen in the corner. What happened? So I'll substitute that. There was this Honourable Member, UPDF, and then the Honourable Member, the lady in black. And that would be, 1 minute each. Proceed.
Yes. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members. Ayat Irene, Honourable Member from Gulu District. I appreciate government effort on stopping this act, but what I would like to say is that unless we change our attitudes, some of these issues we are discussing may not be of help. One, if you look at this issue of charcoal selling and charcoal whatever, unless we stop it, because trucks are being ferried with charcoal, they bring it to Kampala. And these forest guards, I've never heard of any forest guard impounding trucks of charcoal and taking it and taking act. You find these forest guards moving in the night, impounding trucks
Can
of
we listen to
charcoal,
the honorable member making the
and they
submission?
get money from these charcoal dealers, and the whole issue ends there. Corruption. 2, the poverty level of people. You find people go to wetland, digging sand to sell to get source of income. Now, unless government find a means to reduce that source of poverty level, this debate will not be of help. And then lastly, I would like this House to help to decide on a alternative means of source of energy. Much as we are talking of stopping charcoal cutting, if we don't see or look into any other source of energy, now what do you expect a poor woman from the village to use apart from charcoal or firewood? So it is a way forward for us to look into.
I want people to stand on a point of debate. In that order, you're already in the line. Just proceed. Then I'll go this side. I keep doing that. Then you'll be the next. Go ahead. Use your microphone, honorable member. I do realize that I'd neglected the middle.
Honorable Speaker.
After this, we shall
Honorable
now go
Speaker,
inside.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much,
Honorable
Honorable Speaker, and all honorable members of the August House. My name is Honorable Pius Okiror of Ngora County, but I'm also a fourth-year student of law. I want to differ from the position of the honorable member who has just made her submission. Well, the problem is not charcoal burning, all that. The bigger problem, I think, that we should be looking at is to do with implementation of the policies, implementation of the laws that we already have in place. One of the things that we need to look into especially is like we have the laws. We have the laws mandating government to take necessary steps, like we have environmental impact assessment. We have the Land Act, we have the Water Act, we have the Environmental Act. All of these laws mandate government to take environmental impact assessment before any project is put in place, whether at the swamp, whether near water bodies and other sensitive areas. What has happened with the implementation of these laws? We rather should call on government, and this is my emphasis in this August House, that we call on government to implement the laws that have already been put in place. We don't need more laws. We need implementation of existing laws as well as sensitization. I thank you so much.
Point made, honorable member.
Speaker, point of debate, honorable Speaker.
Honorable members,
Point of debate,
if you
honorable
ever have a
Speaker.
point of information, it's
Point
always
of
good to
debate.
give it when the honorable member is making a submission. Honorable
Point of
member,
debate, honorable.
I'm first giving the honorable member a chance to make his submission, then I'll come this side. I'm balancing it. Thank you. Center will be, after these three, we'll now go to the center and we'll give them an opportunity. You also realize, honorable members, that not everyone can be able to speak in this time. Honorable member, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Dr. Komo from Sorori County. I'm going to stay to the point what the government must do on the side of climate change. One, a government must look at how to reduce electricity power first to make the people who are staying in town to be a price, not to be using charcoal, and the village people only will use firewood, and you have already reduced the climate change on that. Then the two, why the people have encroached on a wetland. It is a government to revive back a national housing policy which was there, which was accommodating too many people, so that the rent will not chase people to look for where to build. If houses like Bugolobi were there, nobody could go Namame for construction. That's point number two, a government must revive. Number three, what the government must revive is to put extension workers in each sub-county, like agriculture and forest members, to work on it so that they can advise the villagers how to implement the things.
Member.
Then fourthly,
Procedure.
then fourthly,
Procedure, honorable member. Concede. Procedure.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, my name is Taba Musguirso Nabaho, Gomba West Constituency, Gomba District. I raise on a point of procedure here. Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, you may realize that what we are raising here is actually a very pertinent issue. Issue pertaining climate change, issues pertaining our nation. We are here as members of parliament for just a single day, meaning that we have our ministers here for today. You find that procedurally, when such matters are raised, the opposition is always there to advise the government.
Proceed, honorable member.
And the ruling party is here to always do what? To always rather remind the government on what to do. So it is my humble prayer that we shall have to consider and give time to the government upon which we are advising at this point in time.
Honorable member, the rules of procedure here.
Just a moment, Mr. Speaker. I conclude.
Okay.
Second, when you look at our order paper, number 6, you find that we are supposed to hold this motion for only 45 minutes. Therefore, is it procedurally correct for us, the members of parliament and the speaker, to violate our own rules? Thank you very much.
Honorable member, the speaker has the timing. He's aware when this debate is supposed to end. He's trying to give everyone an opportunity, but you also realize we all cannot speak because of the time limit. And no, I will ask honorable members to sit down, and let's proceed as we had. In the middle of a member's submission, you're going to derail us. Honorable member, conclude on your point.
The honorable member interfered it. I don't know why he's guilty or is a victim of that problem. What we are not talking of because of Soroti County. Now, the first thing that must be done is that when the laws are made, let be implemented. But the problem we are talking into that we are amending the laws. After amending the laws, the next day people are doing the construction. When the construction is done, the law jumps on it. Somebody say, leave my people. The person who passed the law in the parliament is the same person who has again run to court to put a court injunction. So it will be a waste of time of Ugandans to talk what they are not going to implement it. The solutions are known, what we done. Then you go to find that the person who is again in the parliament, a member of parliament or a minister, he's building a factory in Namamve, whereby is gazetted. When it's already told to demolish, when the forest department goes there, the policeman is there with a gun. They say that, who are you? The policeman vacate it immediately. They say, order from above. Now, you can find that you can drill it to talk today, tomorrow, everything, and you not do it. What you must revive it, The laws were there even in the 60s when the parliament was open. It was not today.
Conclude,
the laws were
honourable
there.
member. Conclude.
So if you want this thing to make it,
The point is made, honourable
implement
member.
it what was there. It was just to revive. It's not to amend it. It's
Honourable
just to
member,
revive something.
honourable member,
Submission,
conclude.
honourable
You've actually done with your debate. Honourable members, the moment you have information and the honourable member has concluded, it actually becomes information too little too late. Can we have the honourable member? I remember I still had honourable members. You made a contribution, honourable member, sit down. Can we have you? You speak next after the next person here. And then we shall go in the middle. Proceed.
Microphone. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Darius Nshabomwe is my name, representing Rujumbura constituency in Rukunji district. My major point about climate change. If you realize this, climate change is a great human threat. And for we in Uganda, what we are facing majorly, what we are facing majorly, they are talking about number 3 of chasing.
Honourable member, resume your seat. Resume your seat.
They are talking chasing those people who have already occupied those wetlands and whatnot, government chasing them. But those mistakes are brought by government technocrats from Ministry of Water and Environment who are issuing. They are issuing land titles to companies. Then after all, you are talking about that we shall chase them. If you chase them, where you are not bringing up a strategy or policy on how you are going to cover up them. So that one is also in a mess. We need to work on corrupt officials, more especially in order to mitigate climate change.
Remember, thank you. Can we have an honourable member that side? Up. The lady, yeah, yes, honourable member. And then I'll have the honourable member behind there. And then I'll end up here with starting with you. Can we move on, honourable members?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir. I'm Tumsime Warda Magezi, Woman MP Kampala. First, I would like to give some of these issues have been raised, but they've not particularly been well issued out. The first issue is about pollution, and that is in regard of the factories. We've had a lot of foreigners come in Uganda, and they've constructed factories which have gradually led to water, air, and land pollution. And this is a major problem which is affecting our climate. And because the fact that the government is getting revenues and taxes from these foreigners, it doesn't mean that we have to, it has to cost our climate. So the government should regulate this thing, because these people are putting up factories in swamps and even in places they're creating this pollution which is affecting our climate. The other issue is sensitization of the people of Uganda. The people of Uganda should be sensitized of this issue. We are discussing it in Parliament, but most of the Ugandans down there in the villages don't know what is exactly is the solution to this issue of climate change.
Honourable members, are you done, honourable member? Just wind up and then I guide the house. Member, proceed.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, sir. The other issue is that the education system is not creating climate awareness. We need if now there is an issue of climate change, we need the people who are teaching these students to let them know of these issues so they can find solutions to them. The other issue is that the people who are helping...
Honourable member, conclude.
Okay, let me conclude by saying that the government should let the people who are helping to let this climate change, like the people who were massacred in Kasese, those people have been making emphasis in planting trees, which are helping on our climate. But these same people are being massacred. So the government should realize that at the cost of security, they are also indulging in the climate change. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, can you resume your seats? Let me guide you a little bit. Honorable members, you do realize if I gave everyone here a minute to speak, how many minutes will you use? Everyone. So you also realize that not all of us can be able to speak. So I'm just giving a way forward for some of the issues. You remember me actually making a suggestion that this is not going to be a one-off. Already, actually, our proposal is being considered. That will not be one session, to not be two sessions. But can I ask you that for those who have burning issues, and you may not be able to get the time or catch the eye of the speaker, can you write them down? Like so many members of parliament have done that. Because then you will end up speaking and speaking until the cows come home, but you will not have the opportunity to take decisions on the debate as well as vote rightly on the motion as is presented. And that's how I've decided to guide the House. The next people who are going to speak, honorable members, are on this side. And as I said, honorable members, not all of us can be able to say a word, as I've said. Please, put your issues down. We shall take them, not of them. Can we have... honorable member, I thought you made your submission. You didn't. Can you go ahead? Honorable member, sit down. Resume your seats.
Thank you, Right Honorable.
The honorable member representing UPDF.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Chairman, for giving me also the opportunity to add my voice to those that have already spoken. In the interest of time, I shall just be going direct to my points. One, sensitization. Today we are talking about climate change. But if we went back to the beginning, you find that the problem is most people don't know even what climate change is, what climate is. And we don't have figures on the ground. If climate has changed, what is there to say today? How hot was Uganda maybe 50 years ago? And how hot is it today? What amounts of rainfall are we receiving? We really don't know. That's number one. Number two, we are trying to introduce this program of rural electrification. But the problem we are seeing here is that the costs are not affordable. What the government could do would charge people maintenance costs rather than making it a source of income. You find that with this continuing increase in charges, people who had even gone to use electricity for cooking are again reverting to firewood. Lastly, just to allow other people also get the opportunity to talk, implementation. Our performance records in the UPDF are really very unquestionable. We have...
Protected.
Am I protected?
Protected.
Thank you very much. Our performance is very unquestionable. Whatever we have set ourselves to do, we have done. I'm requesting the government to give us the mandate to implement environmental protection, and then it will happen. I just want to thank you with those few words.
Thank you, honorable member.
Order.
I'm going to go into the middle. I'll start with honorable member.
Order.
I'll have an honorable member
Speaker,
here.
you're being biased. Order. You're being biased.
Please, can we respect the chair? Can we have the honorable member? You speak next. Then we shall have an honorable member, lady. Then we shall have at the back, there was a complaint at the back, honorable member. And then we shall have one honorable member who has not been catching my eye. And then we see how to proceed. Can we proceed, honorable member? Resume. You'll be the last on that side.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity given. I'm Honorable Bagenda Happy John from Nansana Municipality.
Phone, use your microphone. Raise it a little bit. Yeah.
Once again, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm Bagenda Happy John, representing Nansana Municipality. Honorable Speaker, it is much of a surprise to me that honorable members have discussed this matter, putting some important elements out. Like if I look at resolution number 2 of putting out people that are settling in these areas without an alternative strategy. Because some of these people that are settling in these areas, they've lived there for years. And we all know some of them have been our voters. So it will be a betrayal to them if we can move this resolution further without considering a resettlement strategy. So I therefore advise the government to consider putting in place locations where those people that will be evicted from these areas, where they will be settled, because they are Ugandans, and it is our duty and role to protect our people. And by the way, it's wrong to call them illegal settlers. They are people that need settlement. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, I have a concern on the resolution application strategy. In so many cases, as we've all witnessed, we've had the policies that have been implemented partially. Where you find, I'm not trying to insult, but we've all witnessed the cases where they are evicting people that are operating within wetlands. They are only evicting people that are locally based. You find Asians, their companies are left to operate. Should we suggest that the law will not apply to them? So I advise this government that it is an important element we considered a comprehensive application of these resolutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable. Can we have the next member in the middle? Yeah? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Nambozo Martha, representing Bukoli North, Bujiri District. Though we have deliberated, but it's good that now we are back to the motion. And as on the motion, as I begin on 1, implementation, I would also request my fellow honorable members that whatever we have done and whoever is coming to speak must follow what is here. It's not that we are bringing our own issues as the People's Parliament, but we are trying to either add on or remove what is on the order paper of what the Parliament of Uganda has already come up with. Now, as on implementation, number 1, my fellow honorable members have discussed about implementation, but implementation, who implements? Our government has failed to implement because it has not monitored the very people of the offices of what to do.
Order.
When we go down.
Order.
When we go down.
Concede, honorable member.
When we go down.
Order. Concede.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is to lay a trap for a monkey in the forest, on the ground. Mr. Speaker, is it in order for the honorable member to claim, allege, and therefore smear the government as failing in its bid to maintain monitoring and evaluation of government programs? Yet it is indeed true as well that this government has the Auditor General's Office, that audits all government procedures and accounts. Is it in order?
Honorable member, if it's in the opinion of the honorable member that government still has some challenges in some areas, it is our opinion. Honorable member, proceed and conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Like I said, we have come here to add on what is being implemented. So whatever I'm discussing, I'm representing Bukoli North. Why is that those officials of environmental officers of the district, they are not doing their role? And I do advise that government must come up with a resolution of either the government can come up with regulations of really putting in serious monitoring of the district workers to implement the issues. And it shouldn't wait wherever there is a concern, then it wakes up to implement. Let implementation be done first, so as to improve our services.
Honorable
Then,
member, the point is made.
I would conclude
Point is
that
made, honorable member. You can resume your seat.
information granted.
No, you've made your point, honorable member. You can resume your seat. Can we have the honorable member at the back?
I can proceed.
Thank you. Can we resume our seats, honorable members?
As I conclude,
Honorable member, you've made your submission. Can you resume your seat? I thank you. Honorable member, can you make your submission?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm Kasemba Kopsinge from Makerere University Business School, second year student. I'm representing Toroko District. About the motion, it's very important and useful to conserve the environment. I was advising the government to add value on our public holidays on the way we celebrate them. For example, like the youth public holiday, the government can encourage the youth at the ground level, those who can't participate at the national level. They can encourage them as they celebrate the Youth National Day. They can do tree planting. On Women's Day, they can do tree planting. On the Independence Day, for example, in my district, I was one of the members who spearheaded the tree planting campaign in my district. We can take use of our public holidays and do the environmental conservation activities. Public holidays are very important. For example, like we can take use of our Independence holiday. I was giving an example, like if we organize like regions, like the East, Central, West, and North, we can say we want to improve on the education sector of our region. On the Independence Day, we can give each region, like, for example, each region has like over 5 million people. 5 million people can contribute like 2,000, and over 10 million is contributed for each region to promote the education sector, to promote the tree planting exercises, to promote to improve swamps. So I was suggesting the government to add value in the way
Honorable member, you made your submission. Honorable member, you have the floor. After he makes a submission, I'll have two people from the middle. There is a lady in the middle and the last gentleman there. And then we shall have, in terms of procedure, honorable members, we shall have the move of the motion, making a last concluding remark, and the leader of opposition, and then we shall go to the vote. Honorable member, proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And my honorable members.
Honorable member, use the microphone.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to bring the attention of this August House that actually, in actual sense, this mayhem of climate change, is it on? I'm Erica Imsiwe from Kigezi, the coldest place in Uganda. Kigezi Kabare, actually. I'm presenting Kabare.
Honourable Member, you don't have a lot of time, Honourable Member.
Okay, I'm presenting Kabare Municipality. Okay, I wish to bring to the attention of this House that the mayhem of this climate change has been mostly brought about by misuse of our rights, our human rights. There's a new generation of rights which I wish to refer to as the environmental human rights, which have been grossly misused and been misused and neglected and violated in Uganda, because it's common sense and common knowledge that most of the NGOs, stakeholders who are actually fighting for human rights and the others for the environment, they actually concentrate on one particular thing. For example, those NGOs which are concerned with the human rights, they usually neglect the impact of human rights on the environment. People tend to misuse their human rights to impact on the environment. For example, a person can be owning like a forest, I mean as in large acres of land, but then he can just cut down the whole forest because that is what? That is his land. It is his right-owned property. That's an abuse of what? Of right-owned property. And then in actuality, that is impacting on the environment.
Information?
Yes, through you, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to inform my colleague who is debating now that we have laws that cater for that. We have laws that mandate you to meet certain requirements before even you cut your tree, which is in your house, which is in your home compound. So that one is well catered for. And then I think we should be discussing something else. But with regard to human rights and other people's rights and the rights of the majority of the public, the law is well settled. Thank you so much.
Yeah, honourable members, as you give information and stand up to speak, don't forget to say who you are and where you're coming from. Can you conclude, Honourable?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Actually, Honourable Member, you're referring to the environmental impact assessment, which has always been abused, and actually there's even public interest litigation, which has also been grossly misused. So what I wish to bring to the attention of this government, I wish they could collaborate and compromise human rights and environmental rights, because those two things, if they are considered together, then people can actually take into account the impact it has on our environment. If someone is trying to set up like an infrastructure, maybe it's a factory, he could consider the impact it's going to have on the environment, because it's actually in that process is going to exercise his human right as in own property and set up something.
Honourable Member, are you done with your submission?
Honourable Speaker.
Okay, thank you so much. Resume your seat. Can we have in the middle, I promised Honourable Member, and in the interest of time, can we have a person with disability, Honourable Member, in the middle, and then we shall have the last person on this, and then we shall give the proposer of the motion an opportunity to defend. Can we go on?
Yeah, I'm the one from the middle. Yes.
Honourable Member.
Yes, I was selected from the middle.
Honourable Member, you're jumping the queue.
Am I?
If you want clemency from the Right Honourable Speaker, that can be another matter.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Mr. Speaker. Honourable Mr. Speaker, I look to be the youngest person here. My name, I'm Bukenya Charles, Honourable Bukenya Charles, from Nachisma constituency. Honourable Speaker, having had clear from my fellow honourables of what they have talked about, it looks quite clear that indeed most of our honourables have not actually understood our motion clearly. Nobody, no any honourable, has come here to talk about the resolutions that have been made. And at the end of the day, we're going to find ourselves moving a motion, deciding on a motion which you've not even understood. If you can permit me, Honourable Speaker, to speak on the resolution number 11
all the developments in the in the wetlands and forest reserves should be destroyed within 6 months. It's a very good resolution, Mr. Speaker. But the problem is with the time lag. Mr. Speaker, if we to look at the developments in the wetlands, most of them are companies. Mr. Speaker, have we cared for those people who are going to lose their jobs? Mr. Speaker, as we can speak right now, Uganda is a country that is faced with unemployment. It means that the time lag that we have, which is 6 months, if we failed over decades to create jobs for these people who are unemployed, shall we be able to create jobs for those people who will lose their jobs? Mr. Speaker, if to leave that, the homesteads, number 10, resolution number 10, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you to look at the homestead, it suggests that every homestead should plant trees. And also, failure to do so, imprisonment of 10 years will be subjected to the culprits. Mr. Speaker, looking at the economic crisis in the country, we all understand that there are even most of the people who are in Uganda actually can't afford more than 50 feet of land. Mr. Speaker, if someone has a very small piece of land to construct a house, actually even he can only afford to buy land which can accommodate 2 rooms of a house, Mr. Speaker. How will you be able to plant a tree, Mr. Speaker, on that? Mr. Speaker, my last submission goes to the treaties that Uganda subjected themselves to. We subjected ourselves, of course, to several treaties, Mr. Speaker, like the United Nations from Convention on Climate Change, Kyoto Protocol. But, Mr. Speaker, how many Ugandans do understand this? Before we do speak, before we offer our views, we must understand clearly how many Ugandans understand. Mr. Speaker, it's so much relevant for us to come here and discuss issues we don't understand. I'm quite very sure 90% of my fellow honorables, in due respect, don't understand these conventions and these treaties, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker.
Order. 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 Concede, honorable member.
Thank you, Mr.
Concede.
Order.
Concede. Sit down, honorable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Through you, Mr. Speaker, is it in order for a full honorable to waste August House's time? He started by telling us that he's the youngest here, which is irrelevant. And right now, he's telling us that honorable members, 90% on his own statistics, don't understand the motion. I guess it is irrelevant and you should suspend his argument. And finally, Mr. Speaker, through you, let the former honorable to withdraw his statistical statement.
Honorable member, can we resume our seats? Honorable members, resume your seats. I'll give the honorable member the right of reply as well, and then once he's done with that, he might be asked to withdraw that statement. Right of reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's so much unfair to misunderstand some people, and I think I've been strongly and vehemently misunderstood, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
honorable member, it's a point of order, so you either withdraw the statement.
Mr. Speaker, I lay all my apologies, Mr. Speaker. I lay all my apologies, Mr. Speaker, to the House.
Okay, conclude. He has withdrawn.
Okay. If I can conclude, Mr. Speaker, let me conclude with the resolution that we gave that the government is supposed to pass, which talks about cancelling all land titles. Mr. Speaker, if you can look clearly, Honorable Mr. Speaker, you can see that most of the land titles that have been given to these people, they're actually through process. So how are we going to be able how are we going to be able to compensate those people who actually bought all those land titles through proper process? So I think if when we're moving this resolution or perhaps this motion, we must clearly look and be fair to those people who acquired all the land titles in proper manner.
Conclude, honorable members. Thank you, honorable member. In my earlier choice, I'd given the honorable member in the back. I'll give honorable members, resume your seats. I'll give an honorable member.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I'll give an honorable member seated, your neighbor, yeah? Honorable member, if he has a point. Just a moment. I'm giving 4 honorable members an opportunity. You have been given an opportunity, you're number 1. The honorable member at the back, the one seated next to you, honorable member, can you first sit down? Honorable member, do you have a point? No, your neighbor. He has a point? Then I'll give, where is the honorable member? Where is the honorable member? No, not you. There was an honorable member. I'll give you the opportunity. And then decide the last one.
You advise them, they don't raise hands, they just stand.
The honorable member, you'll be the last on this conversation and debate. Let's proceed. Honorable member, proceed. Switch on your microphone. Or
Yeah.
use another one.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much for seeing me finally. I'm Mwambu Herbert, Budadiri West, Sironko District. Aware that 70% of our wetlands contribute to the rains, and aware also that 30% of our rains come from the forests, or from the trees and the forests. It is important, therefore, that also considering the fact that we have a very huge employment problem in the country, we want to look at the fact that I want to add the 12th resolution, that let there be established the National Tree Planting Authority. Let there be established the National Tree Planting Authority. This tree planting authority will basically do 2 things. It is going to employ 90% youth. Okay. And after employing the 90% youth to do the tree planting.
Guidance, honorable member. Everyone who is standing up to speak is for a minute. So use your 30 seconds.
The National Tree Planting Authority, which should be financed partly by government and a contribution from the environmental levy of the vehicles in this country every year. So if you're driving a car, you are emitting carbon emissions. Therefore, we want to tax you a little bit and contribute towards this National Tree Planting Authority, which is going to employ the youth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable member. Your neighbor? No, not you, honorable member. Yeah, honorable member. No, not you, honorable member. The member just neighboring you. Yeah. Switch on your microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Right Honorable Speaker. I am called Lukoye Morris, representing Manafa District. I would like to thank the Parliament for the opportunity for bringing this debate concerning the adverse effects on climate. That I would like to inform the Honorable House that courtesy of other adverse effects caused by the climate change, there is a group of people called people with albinism, living with albinism. I am an example. They are so much affected by the climate change effect of the strong sunshine rays. In addition, concerning the need to promote afforestation as a measure of mitigating the climate change, the government of Uganda, I would like to thank it for bringing in the policy of afforestation through the Operation Wealth Creation, where they are giving people to plant trees, but however, the tree seedlings are brought during the drought. So it may not be possible, but unless the government revises the timing and the season. Secondly, there is need for the government to revise the rates of the electricity supply in the policy of the rural electrification. This one, if the cheaper the electricity, the less encroachment on forests for fuel.
Honourable Member, conclude. Conclude, Honourable Member.
Thank you. In conclusion, I would like to urge the government to look at the issue of food security since the problem of climate changes.
Honourable Member, I'll have... You're the last on that side.
Please,
You see, honourable members, there are those even who had given opportunity, they kept moving out. So when I look on my side and I don't see you, your chance goes to another person. So, but I gave you the last opportunity and you'll be the last. Can we proceed? The lady and the lady. And then we shall have the Deputy Speaker who will say a word. Then we shall have the move of the motion, concluding, the LOP, concluding, and then we vote. Can we proceed?
Thank you, Honorable Chairman.
No, honourable member. It's
My name is...
honourable member. It's the honourable member I gave an opportunity. I gave you opportunity, you moved out. I couldn't. Thank you.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. I'm called Nakainga Judith. I'm a student at Chambogo University. I'm on the NRM side, as you can see. So many honorables from Machindia Division. So many people, all honorables from that side, this side, you have been advising the government. But the government has already been advised, and members of parliament are always here to advise the government. So my point here is that since the government has always been advised, let us develop this patriotic feeling within us as Ugandans. Let us be the first one to do what the government is supposed to do. Don't wait everything to be done by the government. Because I'm giving you an example of a family. If a family is led by a man, it is not necessarily possible that a man is always the one to look at this and that. But the wife herself is also supposed to come up and help the head of the family. Thank you, Honorable Speaker of Parliament.
Can we have the last honourable member? She's the last to submit on this side, then we shall have the deputy, Right Honourable Deputy Speaker. Your colleague, the colleague behind you. Honourable member, can you use your microphone?
Honorable Speaker, please give me a chance. Honorable Speaker.
Can you resume your seat, honourable member? Honourable member, is the mic not working? Can you find a quick one? If it's not working, can I give that opportunity to somebody else? Take the opportunity.
It's on. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Sorry.
Annette
Go ahead.
Serada from Remiaga County. And about today's motion, I'm saying this is a song we've been singing more than 10 years back. And on that, on the resolutions we have today, about Resolution 11. It is the same government which contracts the investors to destroy our wetlands. For example, a few years back, this wetland of Lubiji along Wakiso Road, people were chased from there claiming it's a wetland reservation. And today, the same wetland along Masaka Road, Rela, it is badly touched and damaged. And it is the government who makes contracts with those investors to construct factories in those wetlands. And here yet on resolution number 11, you're saying that all homesteads should plant trees, and failure to do so should attract a 10-year jail term. I'm suggesting that it's those government officials who make contracts with those investors who damage our wetlands should face that 10-year jail sentence. Because for us in our homesteads, you cannot say that we have to plant trees. How do we benefit from that? I cannot see my neighbor planting cassava and you tell me to plant trees. How? Because today in Uganda, Ugandans don't have Uganda at heart. So the government should ensure that it makes contracts with us, the landowners, to plant trees, knowing that our energy and power is not wasted.
Your point is made, Honourable Member. Now, there are many ways of catching the eye of the Speaker. You could also be a defiant Honourable Member. I'll give the Honourable Member who almost wanted to shed tears in this House the last opportunity. She's the last Honourable Member before I give to the Right Honourable Deputy Speaker. You have 1 minute.
I have 1 minute. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and honourable members. Thank you so much. I would like to request that I use both languages, Luganda and English. Pardon? Pardon? Yes, I know this is...
Honourable Member.
Yes.
The language of the House is English.
Yes. All right. My name is Mnezero Gabriela Maria Goretti, and I'm from Chira, representing for Wakiso District. On this motion, I would like to request that we all be observant of what is really causing the environmental degradation. We might think of planting trees, but in actual sense, we are not having what? Rain. What has caused about us not having rain? We have got investors and we are welcoming technology in Uganda. But technology has contributed a lot on causing about environmental degradation. For example, I'll give you an example of solar systems, which is fighting with the what? With the sun itself.
What can we do, Honourable Member?
It's competing.
Make your suggestion and conclude.
It's competing. Even if we do what? We plant trees and have not stopped bringing the solar systems in the country, they are going to contribute more and more. Because for generations, we've been cutting trees, and we've been, for decades and decades, we've been cutting trees and using charcoal.
Honourable Member, your point is made. Thank you so much. Right Honourable Deputy Speaker, you'll use 2 minutes. Right Honourable Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Speaker, honourable members of Parliament, honourable ministers, and honourable ministers from the shadow government, the chief whips from both sides. Wonderful. The chief whip from opposition and the head of opposition. First of all, I just Right Honorable Speaker, I just want to remind members about the procedure. When you want to raise up, don't raise up and put your hands again. Just raise up and the speaker will see you. That is very, very important. First of all, I'm very, very excited and happy as the deputy speaker of this parliament. The level of debate has actually gone very, very high, and you can clap for yourselves. The issue we are discussing today is a very, very important matter. Climate change is not a joking subject. You have seen the drought. There's no rain in the whole country for nearly many months. Now, when you are talking about climate change, let us not just look at Uganda. We should also look at the causes. We look at the global implication. Because now we are talking about things that are bringing in the changes we see. When we were growing up as children, we used to see a lot of forest. But most of the forests have been turned into something else. There are so many things that are happening. Now, as government, what we need from you as this parliament, we need to see you coming out with the very, very formidable policies that can mitigate climate change, that can impress and put people's life something that can really mitigate the changes which we are experiencing. I was expecting the minister from government to come out and really speak on climate change and give areas where you are improving and what you are doing. There was a suggestion from a representative from UPDF, and I was very happy about it. You know how AME is playing a key role in putting a lot of things. In fact, the AME are more down to the forest than all of us. I'm not meaning that we are not, but the AME, they are on ground. And we would even buy the idea. Now, there are so many things that also brings changes in amidst us. People in, Honorable Speaker, I was just reminding members, I can see a honorable member raising a hand, which actually is not the procedure. So I'm reminding you, members of parliament, please let us try to follow the procedure.
One minute, honorable, right honorable member.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, we are importing vehicles, and the vehicles we are importing from Japan, some of them are no longer the vehicles of 19 DMCs. When you go in the tax park or you go in our town, you see the kind of pollution, the type of air we are getting into this world. So as government, you need to do something in that area. I don't want to waste time, but Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. First of all, to thank you also for voting me and becoming the deputy speaker. Now, in our resolution, I would like to see the 10th parliament. I've not seen them planting trees. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to see this parliament going out the way they have gone out to help albino. I want every member of parliament in this house, 10th parliament, to plant at least 10 trees. And also encourage all their constituencies to do a lot with the climate change. With those few remarks, I want to thank you, members of parliament, and Uganda as whole. Lastly, since this parliament, People's Parliament, has begun today, we suggested that we should have at least 4 sessions in the year. By the time we hand over in February, we would have made a mark. Are we together? And I was proposing also that from today, we also get views from the people, as 10 parliaments get also views from what? So that we harmonize those views and see whether our members of parliament are really representing us, and then we come together and see what we can do. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honorable. We can now have the mover of the motion. You have...
Right Honorable Speaker,
yeah.
I didn't mention my constituency.
Okay.
I'm a worker, and I come from workers' constituency.
Okay. Welcome, Honorable. Right. Can we have the mover of the motion? Honorable Member, we've run out of time, I'm sorry. Order rejected, Honorable Member. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
We have 1 minute, Honorable Member, and if you could also help members, especially on areas of the resolutions they have to vote on, that would be very useful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and I thank the honorable members of the House for debating very passionately on this motion as brought by the government side. My name again, Flavia Kalule Nawagabe from Mubende District, Kasana North Constituency. I want to start by being cognizant of the Deputy Speaker's remark, telling all the honorable members of Parliament to go and plant trees. I think, Honorable Speaker, I would want to be exemplary in that aspect by inviting Hajat Sebiala, a pro-activist of environment, to deliver this tree to you so that together we can make Uganda a better place.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Hajat, and the remaining honorables. I hope we have borrowed a leaf from that. Concluding, I would want to say that there are so many resolutions that were pulled out of the motion, but the key voices that I kept hearing, one, we have very many good laws in Uganda that lack implementation. So as the government side, I think that's a calling on our part to follow up on the laws that we implement and to ensure that we curb on the endangerment of the various species and the climate at large. I also note the fact that so many forests have been endangered, and therefore this has been a result and effect on us, which has come out clearly through the droughts that we have come across and the lack of water in so many places as well. So this also calls for us as government to be more innovative in setting up more water sources and in setting up and planting more trees, and to also sensitize the communities on how they can best go green in this country of ours. Other than that, the rest of the things, or the rest of the motions, the rest of the resolutions, the rest of the debates, all matters have been heard. All are going to be subject to more consideration and analysis, and we assure you that as government we are here to serve Ugandans, and we shall ensure that we are more innovative. I'm happy that we have a young parliament today. That means that we are going to be more engaging with you young people, given that you're the majority, to take this country forward. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Honorable Member, thank you so much, but I just request you, in the motion, there are resolutions. There are members who didn't get a copy of the resolution, and they're going to vote on those resolutions in the motion. Could you just repeat them for emphasis?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. For those that do not have copies of the motion, we had 11 resolutions that, as the government side, we proposed that we be taken for consideration and we vote on them. What we can take to consideration, what we can use moving forward, and what we can leave out. Number one was, very quickly, government strictly implements all the environmental laws enacted by Parliament. Secondly, government removes all illegal settlements from wetlands and forests in Uganda. 3, government cancels all land titles issued in wetlands and in gazetted forest reserves. 4th, government introduces strong and deterrent punishments against persons who degrade the environment. 5th, government introduces measures aimed at reduction and curbing of greenhouse emissions. 6th, government introduces specific obligations on recycling and emission control, as well as the use of energy from renewable sources. 7, government ensures that all contracts it enters into with other persons contain environment mitigation measures. 8, government ensures regular and compulsory tree planting in all homesteads and public spaces in Uganda. 9, government should ensure that trees are planted on all sides of major highways. 10, all homesteads should plant trees, and failure to do so should attract a 10-year jail term. 10. And lastly, all developments in wetlands and forest reserves should be destroyed within 6 months. Mr. Speaker, sir, those are the resolutions I beg the House to vote on. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I think that was well clarified. Can we have the LOP? 1 minute, Honorable Member.
The Right Honorable Speaker, sir. An Englishman once said, a man married a wicked woman is the last to know in the entire village that his wife is promiscuous. I rise on this proverb in that I wish my government in power, especially the Honorable Prime Minister who has just talked, if you knew that all these were supposed to help us mitigate climate change, we wouldn't be discussing much of this. You have dedicated much of this country's resources. It is you who is in charge of the allocations. It is you in charge of giving bonuses to people who have not even done anything. I, and as opposition, would prefer this government to leave unprioritized areas of the economy, like giving out bonuses, and then we concentrate much of that money into development activities which can prosper this country to a next level. Mr. Right Honourable Speaker, sir, it will be so unfair and unjust if the shadow cabinet, which consists of a minister for water and environment, fails to give our resolution as the opposition, and yet we have a functioning ministry which is well equipped with a minister very capable by the names of Oyumo Nyango. As the leader of opposition in parliament, sir, may I conclude by wishing all the members journey masses back home. I wish you a re-election to the next parliament, which will be the 12th parliament. And you also wish me good because I also have to go back and get re-elected. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable members in your capacities, conclusion is always part of life, and a man has to conclude his life by dying. I am not doing that on my side. I am sitting down, but my conclusion as a LOP is going to be given by my Shadow Minister for Environment. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Member, I didn't want you to float the rules, and therefore that means, you see, when the leader of opposition speaks, it degrades the side of the opposition for anybody lower than that to speak. So it's in your interest, LOP, but also in the interest of the honorable member who is coming. So I would rather you decline. Thank you so much, honorable members. I think this has been a very interesting, very informative debate. And I would like to congratulate you that if you were the real parliament, I think the decisions that you're going to vote on would have been very, very effective And I want to believe that government and the Parliament of Uganda are going to take due consideration. I now want to guide members on the voting style. We are going to use what we call a voice vote method. That means if you are in favor of this motion and all these resolutions, you say aye. That's actually saying yes. If you are not in favor, you say nay. So once I put the question, I will listen in. And then, depending on whether you want to support the motion by saying aye, or disagreeing with it by saying nay, I will listen in, and then I will know who has it. Is that okay? All right. So we have listened in, and we're now going to vote. And I know for members who had all their suggestions, as I told you, this is not going to be a one-off. Please make sure that they come to the clerk or who make them part of your submissions. Now, members, the time for voting. And I want to put the motion to you. The motion for a resolution of the public parliament urging government to take measures to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change. Those in favor, aye. To the contrary, no. Aye. The ayes have it. I thank you for voting the way you have. And at the moment now, I want to declare this session adjourned sine die. Sine die is indefinitely. We shall tell you about the next session. I thank you. Okay. Shall we?
One announcement, please. Could you kindly sit for a minute? Very briefly, on behalf of the Parliament of Uganda, we'd like to thank you for making time to come and participate in this public debate. This is the first of its kind that we've had here. We may have had some challenges, but our intention was good and it was positive. I hope you'll appreciate it in that sense. You have formed part of history, and the resolutions that have been drafted here today and what you have voted on are going to be handed to the Speaker of Parliament, who in turn will ensure that a Member of Parliament presents it on the floor of Parliament and it becomes a record of this House. So this has not been in vain. This has been part of an actual legislative process. We thank you. Now, we'd also like to invite you now to come to the steps of Parliament, and we have a historic photo opportunity. Once again, we thank you.
Hello.
Which one are you going to get?